Welcome, everybody, to episode 8 of Bombcast. I cannot believe that it's been 2 solid months of this wonderful podcast. We're joined today by a wonderful co-host, Fajardi. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today and pretty much all this week.
Great
So
to
yeah,
hear. Great to hear. And unfortunately, our chat box is broken on Buddy Streamlabs today. But you know what? That's the life of YouTube streaming. You never know what is going to break on any random occasion. But we'll do without it. It just happens sometimes. Nothing we could do. Plenty of topics to go through today. But first off, the most important one, I would say, is that we have a wonderful announcement about the podcast, which is that it is now available on all 9 major audio platforms. I'll pull up the Anchor page right now. It looks gorgeous with all of the podcast icons there. So anything from iTunes, again, officially from Apple, finally after a couple of weeks of waiting. We got Spotify. We have, I think, is SoundCloud one of them? We have quite a few different platforms here. Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Copy RSS. I'm sure there's even more out there that we've never heard of before, but for now, those are all the major audio platforms that luckily the podcast is now available on. And I feel like it's been one of the longest weeks yet in a good way. I mean, there's been so much happening this past week. We went live on, what was it, Tuesday for the Activision earnings call for Q1. What'd you think about that? That was interesting, right?
I think it definitely took everyone by surprise. I kind of got the sense that no one really realized it was happening until like an hour before it happened.
Yeah.
But
That,
you know,
that was definitely something that I noticed on Twitter as well. I feel like once I scheduled my stream, other channels out there were like, "Oh crap, I didn't know that was happening." People went live pretty late with it, like right when it started. I went live with it like I think it was 2 hours before it started, just for a bit of a countdown as I usually do. Appreciate everybody in chat today. Again, we do the podcast every Friday evening at around this time. Hopefully that works out for you. If you guys miss it, you can always rewatch the podcast on the public playlist for it on my YouTube channel or on any of the audio platforms linked in the description. The first topic I had written down had to do with the big reveal events coming season 3. We touched on this, I think it was last week, but we have some updates on it thanks to a quote-unquote leaker in the community who was claiming that it is known as X2, whereas the Black Ops Cold War reveal was X1 in Warzone. That's the file name or the code name for it. So if it's X2, I'm curious how big this event is going to end up being when it does drop. What do you think it's going to be when this does happen?
well, it could mean like one of two things. So
Yeah,
the first one is that it's a solely a Cold War event. That's why it's X2. It'd be like not part 2, but the kind of the sequel to part 1, which we saw in August, or it could be X2 as in like it's just the second reveal event. So
right.
yeah, definitely, it's going to be sick either way. I don't think anyone was expecting, especially when we saw it on the roadmap,
Right.
an event this season,
A whole mid-season event.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
it's crazy to think about, but in terms of what it means, it's like I theorized before. I'm like, we have shattered glass in this image, and I'm like, all right, the shattered glass could be something referring to the hospital where Adler is currently at. People out there pointed out though that we already rescued Adler because the skin for him is called Tortured and Rescued. So we may have rescued him off screen, shockingly, which would be a bit strange. I'd assume that would be covered in a cutscene, but if that's the case, then the shattered glass could be like a new Sledgehammer logo, a hammer breaking through glass. I mean, that's just a theory right now for Call of Duty 2021. But if it's COD 2021 related, then that'll be a pretty early reveal compared to what we got for Black Ops Cold War, which I wouldn't be complaining about. I think that'd be interesting. Do you think we can get a reveal as soon as this season, though? A title announcement, a cinematic story trailer? What do you think about that?
Um, I think I don't even know to begin with this because Black Ops Cold War, wasn't it like Sledgehammer got ripped off Black Ops Cold War to work on this game?
Yes, Call of Duty 2020 was their game at one point. They got ripped off of it to then start a new project, which is what they're going to drop this year, an apparent World War II sequel. So we'll see how that goes.
So I'd imagine they would have. So I imagine that there would be at least there'd be a better foundation for the game at this point.
Yeah.
This year than it was last year.
Right.
So maybe we could see a title reveal and like maybe some type of cinematic trailer type thing because maybe they're not quite ready to show gameplay yet.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. I mean, a lot of ways this can go, Chad, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds with it. And in terms of when the event is, I'm going to have to guess Season 3 Reloaded will open with this event in Warzone. I'm just hoping it's on the same scale as the Cold War reveal where there's steps, a little Easter egg, and then, as a lobby together, we all run somewhere, and then a cutscene plays or a trailer of sorts. I mean, there's so many ways they can do it that I think could easily top the Nuke event, which in my opinion didn't deliver on quite a few notes I was hoping that it would. Thank you, Nova Most, for becoming a member as well. Just popped up in the chat there. Thank you.
Premise. Let's go.
Buddy Premise, appreciate that. And yeah, still looking into maybe rebranding or reshaping how the members work on my channel. Might do that this month. Still looking into the best way to get that done, to maybe dropping it to just one tier for like $6 instead of having 3 tiers. I mean, I was talking about that for a while with Majority, so we'll see how we get that sorted soon. Probably gonna end up doing that ASAP. But yeah, somebody mentioned premise only chats, packs. It's funny you brought that up because YouTube announced yesterday, which I mentioned in a video too, how now you can do subscriber only chats. But what I failed to mention in the commentary, I added it on screen later during the edit, was that it's only a feature available for certain channels right now. And that's the problem with streaming on YouTube, is that they bring out all these new features, they're rolling out all these betas and these new tools, but that's limited to certain Call of Duty channels. Not even all Call of Duty partners or YouTube partners, but a very specific group of YouTube channels that, again, it kind of defeats the purpose of testing out this feature, right? It's like only a few people that have millions of subs can test this. You know, I'd love to see how it would work for a smaller channel, right? But we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. But YouTube is still missing rating other channels, gifting memberships, and clipping. Clipping exists for, again, certain channels right now, but I would love to see something like that added at some point to really compete with Twitch as a streaming platform, because YouTube has potential to do it. Don't get me wrong. YouTube could definitely pull off a good competitor for a streaming platform, but, you know, it's all up in the air right now. But quick side note on that. And with this reveal event, though, what do you think they should do? Should they do a title announcement? Should they do a campaign reveal right away and then drop multiplayer zombies like deeper in the summer? I mean, how should they do it this year, considering Activision is also going to E3, according to rumors at least?
I think with this year we could definitely be seeing a more usual approach to reveals and betas and trailers and stuff like that, which you can take that as good or bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think I hopefully we get a summer beta again, because so we can just grind out in the summer. Because I remember in Black Ops Cold War, I was going to school and shit. And then the beta and the alpha are out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was back-to-back weekends. Alpha was one weekend, the beta was 2 weekends in a row, like a couple weeks later. I can't remember.
I think the alpha might have been like 2 weeks before the beta or something like that. Maybe a month. I don't know. And
don't be surprised, Chad, if you see some PlayStation exclusivity with this year's beta again, considering we don't have maps dropping a month after PlayStation for Xbox and PC. That was a thing from Black Ops 3 to Black Ops 4, if I'm not mistaken. I know Black Ops 4 changed it to like, a week, but before Black Ops 4, it was like a month. So considering that doesn't exist anymore, PlayStation's going to find new ways to create exclusivity when it comes to an alpha or a beta, a mode in the game. I mean, I think Black Ops Cold War did it the best. They took a mode that I think is great, but the mode itself, I think, is something that Xbox and PC aren't dying over. They could definitely wait until November 1st to be able to play it. I'd rather have it that way versus like Dead Ops Arcade 3 or a whole Zombies map be locked behind some PlayStation exclusivity. The deal's going to stick no matter what, and the deal's still active for the Modern Warfare remasters, should I remind you, right? Modern Warfare 1 and 2 remaster dropped 30 days early on PlayStation. Modern Warfare 3 will be the same thing. So something that I'd rather have, instead of actual Zombies experiences being locked. But some people out there, I saw some comments, which we'll actually get to during Who Are These People? So people were saying like, oh, when does Xbox get these exclusive deals? And I'm like, Xbox kind of had it for a good 6-7 years. What was it? Modern Warfare 2 until Advanced Warfare, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was a good 6-7 years, and I think PlayStation has surpassed that already. They're on what? They're on 7 years now, I think, since Black Ops 3. My brain's farting here. I think it's 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh, so we're about to hit about the 8th year of PlayStation exclusivity. So will BattleNet ever get that opportunity one day? I mean, I think they go with whatever the strongest player base is, right? Who has the strongest player base, which platform that is. So that's PlayStation right now. That's kind of what we'll leave that at. But I also have written down, because I've seen a lot of comments about this, and we brought it up before, but Call of Duty 2021 versus Battlefield 6. It's kind of a headache to look at as of lately, because I'm seeing a lot of comments that give me deja vu. It's like, oh, just wait for the next Battlefield. Screw the next COD. Battlefield's going to blow everything away. It's going to be revolutionary. And shall I add, which I'll ask you for your thoughts in a second, but shall I add, Halo leaks surfaced, I think it was yesterday, and I think it was a ex-dev or ex-QA or someone who said that Halo Infinite, that's coming out in, a couple of months, isn't a revolutionary title. It's not going to take the series in a new direction like God of War did. It's kind of just a game that's semi-open world. That's what they were going for, but it's nothing special. That's the way the person described that. You described it as. And I thought the same thing's going to happen with Battlefield, where it might be a really solid launch, but it's not going to be this Call of Duty killer people want it to be. And I'm not wishing failure or negativity on Battlefield, but Name another franchise other than Grand Theft Auto that updates their game so frequently with so much budget and time and with celebrity status. Name a game that does that isn't Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto. I can't think of one. You know, what do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you're counting Minecraft, but that doesn't really have that doesn't really have
Yeah, yeah,
celebrities.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole Battlefield thing. I don't know where people are gonna or where people are coming up with this notion that it's going to dethrone COD, which I don't believe it's ever dethroned. I don't think Battlefield has ever dethroned COD ever, and
Not even close. I don't think.
but it's somehow going to do it when it's COD's literally at the top, its top like peak in history. I don't see how it's going to happen. Will be a cool game to play. Probably. Will I play it a lot? Maybe, but it's not going to be anything like, oh, you hopping on Battlefield for whatever. I just
Yeah.
think Battlefield doesn't really work like that, especially with what I've seen, because you can always hop into a quick little 6v6 and on COD anyway. And
Yeah,
just
I caught some flack for saying this, and I think it was a World War II video I made like a month ago. I was like, look, Battlefield 5 was more successful than 1, if I'm not mistaken, but then the Firestorm Battle Royale didn't do well. That completely flopped. And even if the game's launched successfully, it's all about player retention, which Call of Duty is one of the few franchises that can keep that player retention very strong. Even during a dip like Infinite Warfare, player base and financially, even though they had a dip during that season, it still outdid Battlefield that year, which is, again, just showing you how far ahead Activision is. So, you know, if Battlefield launched successfully, it can keep some player retention. Sure, it could have a strong player base for a minute, but to say all these bold claims about, oh, COD's not going to make it, COD's not going to sell well, it's like you said, the Activision phone call solidified this peak that they're at right now. People want to say Cold War's dead, Modern Warfare's dead, or whatever's dead. It's like, it's literally the opposite of that. And people, oh, well, they're lying to investors. It's literally illegal. I mean, people claiming that Activision's going to lie to their investors in an earnings call. It's like, what I can see happening at the most is a bit of a stretch where they say that an upcoming title might not hit a certain quote or might not perform as well. They might provide some expectations that they say are going to underperform, but then when they know the game's going to overperform, it then pleases shareholders later. So there might be a strategy in that. It's not necessarily lying, but kind of undertelling what they think is going to happen on purpose. But that's the most I could see happening, not literally saying, oh yeah, this is happening, and then it's not. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just the bias that people have. I mean, if you don't like Black Ops Cold War, more power to you. If you don't like Warzone, also more power to you. But these bold claims about Battlefield are just a bit much at this point. I mean, it's cringe to see. You know, I almost want to put a tweet out saying, like, oh, I can't wait to see how Battlefield does when it releases. I want to see how the player retention looks a month after that game launches. You know what I mean? Which, again, succeed or fail, I just don't think it's going to touch COD. But, you know, people judging this next release before even seeing a title announcement has me wondering. Like, if you start judging it when you see the title World War II Vanguard, I get it. There's a little more to judge off, right? Because of the title going back to World War II. We don't even have that yet. People are already talking crap. So, you know, it's a bit silly to see all over Twitter and Reddit. I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, personally, though, do you believe that another World War II title will succeed with this new Sledgehammer team they have going? Or do you think it's a bit risky going back to the past again after, you know, people being quote unquote tired of boots on the ground already?
So when I hear that Sledgehammer could be going back to World War II, which is an old topic at this point, but
Right.
I know the Gaming Revolution tweeted something out where when New Year's hit, Sledgehammer tweeted out,
Let's try this again.
Let's try this again.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
that could mean that obviously they're making a new game, which they are, but we can also look at it as a double meaning. Ooh, we're getting into some serious stuff here, where it could mean that they're retrying World War II, a World War II era COD again, which it was. I think World War II was great. I personally think that COD was really good after the revamps and changes that were made after Cornbread and Cornbread got booted.
And
I think
Schofield.
yeah, Cornbread and Schofield
Yeah.
got booted. I think there's a lot of good changes that they made, like the full overhaul of the divisions, the earnable supply drops, salvage. Salvage needs to return in a COD. That's literally the best system ever.
Right, right. No, I understand that too, and I'm like, the thing with Sledgehammer though is not only have they hired hundreds of new developers, they're opening a new studio in not Tampa, not Toronto, something with a T, I think, if I remember correctly.
It's Toronto, yeah.
Is Toronto? Okay, it's Toronto. They're opening a new studio. They're hiring new devs. I mean, they have different divisions at Sledgehammer now. Activision apparently is going to be hiring 2,000 more developers in the next year. So Sledgehammer is more than capable of coming out with their own title. They weren't about a year and a half ago, so that's why they were a support studio for Treyarch and Raven. But I think let's give this a shot. You know, World War II performed fairly well, I think, player base and microtransaction wise. So Activision giving World War II another go, I think, is the right call right now. Advanced Warfare 2, I think Activision is done right now with controversy. I think they've had enough of it. So in Advanced Warfare 2, I think the vocal minority definitely wants it, but majority of the player base 100% will be complaining about jetpacks and whatnot. So I don't think that would be the right call at all. There was a rumor that I read in a recent video a few days ago, and it's more than likely fake. I said it in the video to make that very clear. I'm not claiming that it was real. I'm not saying it's my leak. I read it from a Twitter account who came out of nowhere, but wrote something that I felt was a bit believable. And what he claimed was that it is a game set during the Korean War near the 50s, but you play as Daniel from the World War II campaign, and he's essentially dealing with a lot of PTSD from World War II. So while he's in the Korean War serving, he's having flashback missions to unseen World War II missions that you didn't see in the previous game. That's a great idea. I mean, if it's fake, cool. It's a badass idea. And if it's fake, I'm like, damn, that sucks. But if it's real, I can really see that working, right? Where they essentially get the best of both worlds, a bit of a hybrid like Black Ops 2. So, you know, if they pull that off, I think I'm game for that, where you kind of do a bit of both. So it's not really a World War II game. It is, but it isn't. And he also mentioned, like, you know, things about multiplayer and zombies, which I didn't believe, because I'm like, how would they have that plan so far ahead? Maybe they do, and he is legit, but I went over that just in case that comes true at some point. You know, it's always fun to talk about things like that, because even though it may be fake, it's a good rumor that I think fuels some really good discussion. I mean, I think that's an idea that would definitely work. There was already a rumor a couple months ago about a 1950s Pacific era Call of Duty, which they haven't really done before. So again, that could tie in very well. So, you know, I think ideas like that would work, but I think what gets confusing is whether or not it's in the same timeline as Black Ops Cold War or Modern Warfare 2019. That's when things get a bit messy, and how the continuity kind of jumps around from place to place. I'm like, I don't know how they can tie all that in. But do you think they should go with a sequel to the last World War II, or should they just start fresh again and just say, fuck it? What do you think is a smart move for that?
I mean, at this point, the story's so messed up. I would rather than just restart, because
just close app, restart.
Exactly, because then if you have that canon, then that story in World War II from 2017, that's canon in Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2019, and I feel like it could get off on the wrong foot, especially if zombies is still canon to the whole storyline as a whole.
Right.
So I would much rather than just reset, but again, it would be kind of cool to see characters return from that campaign, because there was a few good characters. Right.
So. Yeah, I think it was a solid campaign, not my favorite, but it was definitely a solid game. I think it felt polished, at a well-driven story. You know, I just think that them giving that another go for next-gen hardware sounds great. The fact that they were saying that it's being built just for next-gen, I want to bring that up because I think people really misinterpreted what that meant. The way it was worded in the investors call made it sound like the game is only dropping on PS5, Xbox Series X. I don't think they're going to do that, though. I feel like that's such a risk sales-wise to do, especially if it's a World War II game. It's already a risk as it is, apparently. And if you limit that to just next-gen hardware and PC, I think it's too soon for that. So Tom Henderson, some other insiders were saying that, the game is dropping on PS4, Xbox One, but the way it's worded reminds me of Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare, where the game is built for those platforms, the new ones, but another studio will come in and create a last-gen version of the game with maybe less features, less frame rate, less capabilities, maybe less post-launch updates. So you get like a watered-down, still reliable version of the game on PS4, Xbox One, but the true experience will be on PS5, Series X, and PC, of course. So that's my interpretation of it. I could be wrong, But I really don't. I mean, do you think they're going to really cut off PS4 now during a pandemic? You know, sales were great for the next gen hardware, but it's still hard to find a PS5. You know what I mean? So why would they do that now?
Maybe the reason that it was worded that way was because they know that if they could, and I'm pretty sure this is one of our topics, but I'm pretty sure they know if they did continue to update Modern Warfare and Cold War throughout a premium release of next gen, of only next gen of Vanguard. We'll just call it Vanguard. Screw it.
Yeah.
Then they could just release it on that just because they wanted to, and then maybe bring it to last gen a little bit later. Like,
Right.
Didn't Black Ops 3 do that? Did they bring it?
If I'm not mistaken, I mean, somebody in the chat correct me here. I think the PS3 version of Black Ops 3 did drop a little bit after the main release on PS4. I maybe all released at the same time, but I just know that at one point it was a mess, right? Ghost and Advanced Warfare had good last gen ports. We'll put it there. The games were built for PS4, Xbox One, but other studios, I think it was High Moon, Beanox, they still made some good ports of those games for PS3, Xbox 360. But then Black Ops 3 came around. That game's pretty ambitious. So I think it might have been High Moon as well, or maybe it was Beanox. One of them, they were used to already porting CODs to last gen hardware. They tried it with Black Ops 3. Midway through development, we know that the campaign in Black Ops 3 is 4-player co-op. Midway through that, they're like, oh, wait a second, the last gen version is only going to have a 2-player co-op campaign. So they changed it, and then closer to launch, they said, actually, there's no campaign at all. They scrapped the whole thing for last gen, and they dropped just multiplayer and zombies for Black Ops 3, only then released the Giant and Horizon Drac for Black Ops 3 post-launch on the last gen hardware. I don't know about the multiplayer maps. I think they dropped maybe 1 or 2 map packs, maybe even just one, but they just dropped support for that game altogether after, like, I think after the Horizon Drac dropped. So could see a similar deal with this, where they just significantly update the current gen version of Vanguard for PS5, Series X, and then they drop maybe little updates for older platforms. But the PS4 and the Xbox One are still capable of definitely running, I think, a good newer Call of Duty. But depending on what they do with like headquarters and maybe something revolutionary like that in Vanguard, then they might be held back a bit by those last gen platforms. We're not sure yet.
I just kind of made this connection. So
yeah,
Advanced Warfare, that COD released when the Xbox One, the PS4 came out.
Ghost.
I'm pretty sure
it was Ghost.
It was sorry. So Ghost did that, and then I forgot the point I was trying to make. But what we're kind of seeing now is that, like, again, to build up the point where they could actually just release a last gen version of it, because you have Ghost, Advanced Warfare, and then Black Ops 3, and then they didn't release a last gen one for Black Ops 3, which is, so I'm trying to make the connection here where it's like you have Black Ops Cold War, and the timeline's kind of messed up, but Black Ops Cold War, and then the Vanguard, and then they wouldn't even continue for Vanguard because it's already been like 2 years or a year or whatever since the thing dropped, which next gen dropped, which I don't think could be a really good plan. It was just a theory that I was saying, but
no, yeah, I think you're also thinking about the like a bit of a pattern too. So I mean, again, the cycle is thrown off, like you were saying, because Sledgehammer got skipped for 2020. So now that pattern is a bit screwed up. But there was a pattern at a point where it's like, okay, Ghost dropped, the PS4 dropped, and then Black Ops Cold War dropped, the PS5 dropped. So it's the pattern is a bit off. But theoretically, you could say maybe every time a new generation of consoles drops, maybe after 2 CODs, they'll then drop the last gen platform. So maybe by Modern Warfare 2 or Treyarch's 2023 title, they'll end up dropping the PS4 indefinitely. But you know, that's up in the air right now. Definitely up in the air. But as we were just touching on, a Cold War a year or two. So I just feel like it's solidified so much more thanks to the investors call that Cold War has outperformed in many different areas. They said that the past 3 seasons of Cold War have been the most successful seasons in Call of Duty history. It's the most purchased battle pass to date. So what does that tell you when you compare Cold War to Modern Warfare? Cold War has outdone Modern Warfare in many avenues. And if Modern Warfare got a bit of year 2 content, not too much, but a bit, Cold War probably will as well. And then it goes back to that point I made many times, which is that in between Black Ops 3 and 4, there's 3 full years. Plenty of time for Treyarch to update Black Ops 3, while working on Black Ops 4, but the gap between Black Ops 4 to Cold War wasn't very great. It was only, what, a year and a half. So there wasn't enough time to continue updating Black Ops 4, hence why we have Cold War now. But going back to a 3-year cycle again, Cold War to Treyarch 2023, plenty of time for Treyarch to say, all right, let's work on an ambitious project for the next 2 years while still dropping little bits of content for Cold War, whether it's free map updates, free weapons, hopefully some Zombies remasters, definitely some Outbreak updates. Those are inevitable for the next year. What do you think about a year 2, though? What is possible for a year 2? Something on the scale of what Black Ops 3 did with actual like operations, weapons, and remasters, or something smaller than that? What do you think about a year 2?
I agree with what Chris said in chat. Cold War needs to die. Garbo. That's what I agree with.
Cold War needs to. I'm like,
needs to die. Wow.
I mean, I'm not even going to ask the reasoning for why, but I mean, I can promise you that 99.9% of the community disagrees with that. If right now Cold War is outperforming every other Call of Duty at the moment, I mean, they're reaching numbers that Activision's never seen before. So
and that was a joke, by the way. I don't want Cold War to die. I think it's one of the best CODs ever released. But never mind. So yeah, what you were saying about like with the year 2 and stuff like that, in relation to the updates that could be dropping. So Black Ops 3, I didn't play a lot of the content that came out after Black Ops 3 cycle.
Right.
Because I was actually playing and enjoying Infinite Warfare. So I never really got to see what that happened, but from my understanding, there was like new weapons added, some little operations.
Yep. It was wild, man.
And there was some like weather variants. I think it would be really cool to see just some like Black Ops 4 did, some weather variants added, definitely some new weapons. Maybe even like some type of pass outbreak updates. It would be sick to see.
I almost want to put it as a topic. I wanted to put Zombies Pass as a topic because I'm like, I think people don't realize that Black Ops 4 was the last Call of Duty where you had that traditional DLC release schedule, because people didn't like that and immediately praised Modern Warfare's. That just was a nail in the coffin, guaranteeing that every future Call of Duty will have the Modern Warfare model with essentially a $10 battle pass, a season every month and a half, and then, the free updates alongside that. There's pros and cons to both systems, the Black Ops 4 and the Modern Warfare system, but people out there saying like, oh, where's the maps we paid for? And I'm like, do you not realize
you
that
paid for D Machina?
You literally paid for D Machina. I was talking to Eric the other day about this, and I was laughing in the DMs. I'm like, look, people are out there claiming like, oh, we paid for this. I'm like, you didn't though. You paid for D Machina with no season pass, right? But you probably were the same person complaining during Black Ops 4 about the Black Ops pass, and now you want that system back. Where were you when that pass was out? It's like it's like the saying, you never know what you have until it's gone. It's like when the Black Ops pass came out, I definitely noted a couple flaws with it. It could have been better in this, but the pass itself was still theoretically the same system we were used to from previous Black Ops games. Now people want that again. And what I suggested before Cold War even got revealed was, look, let's do the free model like Modern Warfare for multiplayer and Warzone. Let's do a Zombies pass so that players can at least feel secured into knowing they're going to get at least X amount of maps over the course of like 9-10 months or blah, 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 whatever it's going to promise. That's what I would recommend, at least for the Zombies community. But people out there talking about, oh, where's this, where's that? I'm like, you don't realize that there's no season pass. The game you paid for is what you paid for. They can stop updating the game right now, and legally that's okay. In Black Ops 4 or any game before that, they couldn't do that because they promised you 4 map packs with X amount of multiplayer maps, X amount of Zombies maps. We don't have that anymore. So there is no promise. There is no guarantee we're going to get an update every Thursday or every month and a half. It's like, it just blows my mind to people that are so uninformed or just ignorant to these facts. I mean, it's insane, man. It's insane to see.
And someone just said in chat, and most of the profits are from overpriced bundles. Yeah, that's true, because when you're releasing insane amounts of free content literally every week, every week, every 2.5 months, every season, when you're releasing that much free content that pretty much no other game's doing on the scale of Call of Duty right now. I mean, you can argue Fortnite and maybe some other free-to-play battle royale games, but
right.
That's what happens when you can either choose one. You want to pay for your maps and then be able to grind all your shit with supply drops, or do you want free maps and then pay for your skins? Like,
but yeah. And wait a second though, you pay for the maps, and then people are still going to complain. Oh, why do we have to pay for this? Should be free. Oh, why are there microtransactions in the game if we have to pay for the maps? But then you get everything for free, and you have optional bundles you don't need to buy because they don't do anything special. They just look sexy. right? All the attachments that come with blueprints you can put on your weapon no matter what. So it's like people complain about the optional bundles you don't have to buy. They'll criticize me for buying some to make videos with them, but then it's like, wait, do you want free maps? Do you not want free maps? It's like me personally, I love the Black Ops 4 way of microtransactions, and I won't go off on a tangent about it again, but the black market revamp in that game after like September of 2019, that was the definite model I think they should go with, where you can have a supply drop system, but have a way you can trade cases for guaranteed items of your choice. That's fair to me. If you want to also have a pass that you pay for maps with, I think that's a good balance. You can have your supply drops, have your season passes, but then let us trade our cases for guaranteed weapons or cosmetics, whatever that can be. What I have a problem with, though, which I agree with people out there criticizing, is the bundles in Black Ops Cold War, Warzone. A lot of them look fantastic, but there is no way to obtain them without actually spending money. There should be some system where you can trade a key or a case or something for
grindable
some grind.
currency.
Yeah, and I think that's the answer, which you talked about, I think briefly, like the first podcast, like 2 months ago. That is the problem with Call of Duty. It's not actually the amount of content map-wise, perks, fucking updates. That's not actually the problem. The problem is having a grindable currency. That's what made Black Ops 3 so successful, is that no matter what was out at the time, you were always able to grind more cryptic keys in multiplayer, Liquid Diviniums and zombies. We don't have that at all in Black Ops Cold War, so unless you're grinding ranks or camos, there's always going to be this door at the end of the tunnel where you're kind of blocked. It's like, oh, you did everything you could up until this point. Now what? You play another game, or there's nothing else to do after you get all your camos, play all those maps a couple of times, get your calling cards unlocked. Having a grindable currency, as many people might not agree with, though, it's like, oh, well, we shouldn't be any currency, everything should be free. It's like, that's not how it works business-wise, though, at least for Activision. When you have those currencies, it's unlimited replayability to get everything you want in the game, And Black Ops 3 had, some predatory issues with essentially a gambling problem at times. I agree with that. The odds to get weapons were rough. I mean, I know that, but at least there was a currency in there to continuously grind for free no matter what, if you didn't want to spend money. So that's kind of my take on this model with DLC. But it's really a double-edged sword, because no matter what Activision does, there's always going to be complaining regardless. People are going to blame Treyarch. It's literally above their pay grade to even make these decisions. So there is no way to solve this issue, really. I mean, I just find it hilarious to see people talking about, oh, we're not getting what we paid for. It's like, you literally paid for a $60 game in, what was it, October, and they could have not updated that game a single time afterwards, and legally, what are we going to do about it? That's it.
That would have been pretty funny. He just released a game. I mean, that's how most games were.
That's how all games are. What publisher is like Activision or EA? They can pump out updates so frequently with that much budget, celebrity appearances, all these cosmetics, and the licensing to movies and all this 80s music. What game can do that at this rate? No other game can pull that. I think that's why I'm quote unquote addicted to Call of Duty, as you could say. That's why I do it full time, for content creation. Is that there's no other game, unless it's like GTA, Minecraft, Fortnite, which again they're a bit different, but there's no other shooter like this that you can really survive off of, content-wise, update-wise. It's a reliable franchise that you can always know is going to provide something for you. I think that's where my content creation comes from, is that COD's out every year with a new release, and there's updates every week nearly now. So we're at a different stage of content creation and updates that we were never at years ago, which is incredible to see.
Yeah, I think there's a legitimate argument at this point in time with COD where you can say it's being updated just as frequently, if not more, than in Fortnite. I think there's a legitimate argument to it.
I could definitely support an argument like that. I mean, Warzone integration confirmed for Sledgehammer's next title. I mean, water's wet, the sky is blue. Everybody could have guessed that, but the announcements on this phone call, I mean, really just solidify things we already expected and knew. But everybody needed confirmation of any of these things. We got plenty of confirmation that Cold War is just as successful as ever. Modern Warfare's still doing good. The way they described Warzone, though, with it being so successful, is something we'll talk about deeper in the podcast. Kind of about this free-to-play hub that I think it's going to turn into at some point. I know Matt mentioned this last week on the podcast. He was saying that Warzone going to probably turn into this free-to-play hub that eventually maybe can be more than Battle Royale. They can add a multiplayer experience or a story experience to that in the future. But
Or
which
Outbreak
or
experience.
even an Outbreak. Yeah, and that's another topic too. We're gonna get into Outbreak as well. I think Call of Duty Mobile and Warzone alone have convinced Activision there is another way to do Call of Duty, and they're just getting started. That's the way that I've interpreted the past phone call. And they even said themselves they're just scratching the surface of what Warzone could achieve. So we're not even close to I think what they want to do. But I think over the next 2-3 years, we're definitely going to see some real ambitious ideas come to life. Now, uh, Mark in the chat just STFU. No one cares. I mean, if you're coming on a podcast to tell me that, that's kind of silly.
No one asked. No one asked. Turn off stream.
Yeah. No one asked an off stream. Another topic though I wanted to get into, which I think we were meaning to get to this a couple episodes ago, didn't get a chance to, is ZWC3 is Z for C3. We're kind of jump into our thoughts on these events. ZWC3 is something that I've talked about a bit before. I think maybe the end of another episode, but we'll start off with your thoughts. What do you think about the event? How do you feel about it? Is it worth it? Does it make sense? It's happening end of June? Middle of
Yeah,
June?
I think it got delayed actually.
Let me check it
I
out.
mean, to be honest, my thoughts about it are like I just don't care. I
Yeah.
I think any competition around
RNG.
pure RNG, and I say that because a speedrunner I watch, his name is Earthomon, a magnificent player. He knows a shit ton of stuff, but he didn't get into ZWC because of RNG, and that's just like so. So that means you could know just a tiny bit of what to do, but if you get the absolute god RNG, and you would obviously get into whatever it is their
Right.
little competition or kind of levels of things you have to pass through. I don't know. I've only looked at it a few times, but
Right. Yeah.
I think like I said, I just there's a lot more things that especially myself could be focusing on other than um than a zombies event, which I
yeah.
mean we've seen the first two. It's nothing like astronomically crazy. So
I definitely think there is some financial incentive for putting this together, especially this year of all years. I think they knew Cold War was very successful, so like might as well do another one. So I get from a financial point of view how it might have been really beneficial to get one going this summer. You know, but what I don't understand though is, if you get in because of RNG being on your side, and then during the actual tournament, RNG is not on your side, it's just as silly as not inviting somebody that is a real talented player because what does RNG really prove? Really, I mean, you got lucky one day, didn't get lucky the next. I mean, I just never thought zombies was suited for a competitive aspect. I think Grief was like starting to get there with having like teams face each other and whatnot. But is that really interesting to watch? Probably not. So I get the whole. I think speedrunning's cool. I think world record holders. I think there's a lot of talented players out there. I think that's all great. But with an event like this, I just don't. I don't really. I don't really see the point. It's like you were saying. I don't really care. Bringing this up because somebody out there asked me for my thoughts on this. I got a few comments about this in a couple of videos, so I might as well bring it up in the podcast. In terms of the people involved in it, I mean, if you're looking at some of these names here, I mean, you have people on there that aren't known for records, don't play zombies. People on here don't even cover zombies anymore, and they're on here. So it's all like it seems like a big marketing stunt for some of these individuals that are friends, and they're getting their friends on board to put their names out there again. It's like it's just something I think for OGs out there who may appreciate some of these people, may appreciate the competition and the competitive aspect of it, but I mean, it's just I don't know. It's hard to put in words.
I think that's a good point to bring up, but you never know. It's never right to assume something with that big of a claim. But some guy in chat, Dead Silence 18, he keeps asking you, "What's your opinion on the Carb 2?" He's been repeating the same thing. I don't know how he hasn't been timed out yet, but what's your opinions on the Carb 2?
I will say the Carve 2 has potential to be the new meta. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I use it in Fire Team and it was shredding. I use it in 6v6. The thing is a beast. I think it's the best tactical rifle in the game right now. I haven't used it in Zombies too much, but I've heard it. I've heard good things about it. I believe the G11 was a classic in Black Ops 1, so I'm glad they kind of did it justice and reinvented it for Cold War. I really do plan on dropping a nuke with it ASAP. I'm gonna drop a nuke with the M16 first, then one with the Carve. You'll be seeing that gameplay soon. I definitely think it was worth the grind. The weapon unlock is worth it. The bundle itself looks amazing too for it. The what is it? I forgot what it's called. The plastic prototype.
Yep.
It's an awesome bundle, awesome skin with like a game controller theme on the rifle itself. So I definitely think it's one of the best weapons in the game right now. But as I said before, PPSH, the Farah, LC10, every weapon they've added is god tier. They're all fantastic. Every weapon in the game is god tier. So
they all feel iconic too.
All feel iconic. Yeah, I can see these weapons being brought back years from now in other CODs too.
With Modern Warfare, I felt like a lot of the weapons they brought back. Hold on, sorry, I'm about to try. With a lot of the weapons they brought back, it kind of felt like kind of like the characters in that game. They're kind of just bland. They didn't really stand out too much from the other weapons. But comparing PPSH, there's not really a gun like the PPSH in Cold War.
Right.
Mac 10 is kind of its own thing, and you can compare it to the Milano, but with the faster fire rates, it's uncomparable.
Right.
I feel like, this is a personal opinion, but the guns that they're adding they feel a lot more iconic and like classic weapons, which I respect Modern Warfare for going down a different route. I do respect that, but
yeah, Modern Warfare added some god tier weapons as well. AMAX, there's so many weapons, pistols. I mean, so many broken weapons that are great in Warzone and whatnot. So DLC weapons have always been an interesting discussion because it's like, do you want it to be overpowered? People are going to claim it's play to win, but it's not because you're going to lock it for free. I mean, I think it's better the way they're doing it now, which is adding in really worthwhile DLC weapons to keep the game fresh. Changing the meta every season as well, but. Kind of back to ZWC, to wrap up a little bit about that, I definitely think the event is probably going to be a bit successful or a bit more successful than in the second one, just because some of the big names in here. Somebody asked if like Tim and some other people speedrun. I don't know what they do on their on their personal time. Maybe they do speedrun, that's how they got in, or it's just something again for connections and networking, getting some big names in there to boost popularity of the event. I really don't know. I can't tell you that, but again, it's like. Zombie specifically is built in a certain way where I don't feel like skill is always reflected during a lot of these events and tournaments. I know people out there that are really good speedrunners tried out for this event and again didn't make it because of things out of their control, which I don't think is necessarily fair.
It just doesn't show. It doesn't show who's the best zombies player.
It doesn't. It just doesn't. And then when you talk about names who don't even cover zombies anymore, it's like, what are the intentions behind this event? You know what I mean? It's like, what is like? Are they in it just for like a throwback to have some fun? More power to them. They have all the right to do that.
I hope it's just that.
I hope it's just that, because if it's not, and it's something, if it's some other financial gain or for some scheme going on, then it's like, hey, that brings my expectations and opinions on the zombies community even lower, because I already have my doubts on a lot of people out there that I know for a fact don't do content for fun or don't do content for passion. They do it just for money. So it's. I
mean, we're not saying this is a fact, by the way. So don't don't go on Twitter and say, oh, DK and Fajordi said that ZWC is for financial gain. That's not what we're saying at all. We're just talking about about the event.
Couldn't Grief be competitive without too much RNG being an issue, especially if Grief was brought? Yeah, no, if they bring Grief back, without a doubt, it'll have more substance to it than it did in Black Ops 2. More than just oh, who's gonna die first? Let's get some new power-ups in there, a new version of the meat, something to keep it real spicy, to really have it to where maybe you can even kill the enemy players if you're on a bigger zombie map. Like, I don't know, something that's more enticing and actually competitive based on skill of how you can survive. You know what I mean? Where let's say every couple of minutes takes your guns away, gives you something. Maybe it's like a gun game weapon roulette challenge where it's like, well, what player could survive the longest with what random weapon that it gives you? It's like Vajari said, we're not claiming that CWC is like some big scam or that they're doing it just for money. We're providing different outlooks on how the event looks from the perspective of people that don't speedrun, people that don't take zombies seriously or competitively. We're just kind of giving our outlook on how it is a bit of a strange venue, a bit of a strange event that I don't think works well with zombies. But again, it's just our opinions on it. It's not something that we're claiming as fact. I mean, we're hoping the best for everybody involved. Hopefully somebody that's skilled at the game wins. Yeah. And another thing too, when you talk about money, you talk about the prize pool. It's also pretty funny how I think the most skilled players out there in zombies aren't content creators, but there's a lot of content creators on the roster of the event. So it's like, wait a second, is the winner going to be as deserving as, let's say, a player who got screwed out by RNG? You know what I mean? So the the roster's also, a bit strange. But aside from ZWC, we also have Z4C, Zombies 4 Charity 3, happening this summer, which, if everything goes right, I should be involved in it again if everything can fall into place date-wise. We did the second one last year, which was very successful. We raised $7,000 for St. Jude's. Very, very proud of that accomplishment with everybody that was involved in it. I think it went really well. And we'll see how the third one goes later this summer. And looking for new opportunities to lead a team. We'll, practice some speed runs. It'll be, I think, a juggle of Black Ops 4, Black Ops Cold War. Hopefully no Black Ops 3. I think that's way past this point already. I think we've maxed out on our Black Ops 3 grind and played that game for so long. So I think Black Ops 4 and Cold War are probably the games that we'll be focused on. So we'll see how that ends up going, but definitely hope you guys can make it to that at some. I think it's gonna be in July if I read the date correctly. So I'm all for that. I think at least once or twice a year doing a nice charity event, and also not doing it as frequently also helps out. If you do it once or twice a year, builds more momentum for it, more opportunities for people to come in, hopefully donate and support a good cause. If you do it too often, like once a month, you'll probably get less results from that. But yeah, I'm loving the idea of giving back to those in need.
No, Spider-Man, we do not mean E for C. We mean Z for C. It's ran by people like there are some of them are in chat. I know Zazu's in chat, Revived Gamer.
Yeah.
And like other people like Perka, and there's so many other people that are involved in it.
Yeah.
It's basically like a community charity event ran by people by people like most of the people in the community.
Right.
Not these massive content creators, which is a good thing. So
right, no, it's definitely a good thing to see smaller content creators come together, and even non-content creators, just Zombies players and fans come together for this cause. I mean, it's beautiful to see. One thing though that I thought about after the second one, and it still crossed my mind to this day, is it didn't even come to my brain to reach out to any bigger Zombies content creators last year to raise awareness about Z4C2. We didn't even do that, and we still raised $7,000. A part of me was like, damn, I should have, DM'd, Queen or Tim Hansen or somebody out there big to at least retweet the event so that to build some momentum around it. It still did great regardless, but I wouldn't say I regret not reaching out to them, but, part of me was like, damn, it could have been something that could have helped a bit. So hopefully this year with the third one, we'll get some more attention around it, retweets or some mentions in videos. Yeah, it is happening at some point this summer. And yeah, we'll see how it all goes. I just find it a bit ironic though that there were a couple of big channels that I know mentioned it, kind of in a discreet way in some separate content they made, and they were like, "Oh, that's cool that it got put together," but I wonder what the intentions were behind the event. And it's almost like they were calling out whether or not smaller channels were doing it for a good cause or doing it for clout. And I'm like, there's no clout to gain off that. You know what I mean? What do you gain off doing a charity event? Unless you're stealing the money, which is beyond terrible. But
new PC, let's go.
Yeah, new PC, which nobody did obviously. But I find it funny how some bigger channels did question the ethics behind Z4C2. But then if we question ZWC, we're like, hey, what about this? They get all defensive. And I'm like, I find that so hypocritical with the community with Zombies. That's why it's like, I step into the Zombies community whenever possible, whether it's for a video a week or when a new map's out. But aside that, I love keeping my distance from any potential negativity or toxicity that just doesn't need to be there. But yeah, also, while we're on topic of Zombies, what about the end of traditional standalone survival maps? I mean, this is a topic that I'm so tired of addressing because I think people are in denial about it. But let's kind of give it a nice bow tie in this podcast. Let's give it a good recap and a good conclusion conversation-wise. What do you think about Black Ops Cold War being the last iteration of Zombies to have standalone survival maps? Do you think that's possible, or they're not going to do it?
I think, especially with like the vocal minority being so vocal on Twitter, I definitely think they can never fully get away from it, just because, like I said, that small vocal minority that will always keep it there, being like, oh, where's this? Where's the round based maps? We want this, we want that.
Right.
But what people have to realize is that after a mode is 10 plus years old, you have to innovate. You know what I mean?
Got to build on something.
Yeah, you have to build on what was already created by the foundations, and
right.
that doesn't usually mean doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Right. Literally insanity.
Yeah, which you can see with Cold War. They tried something different and it's working. Zombies player base is the highest right now. They tried something different, and guess what? And they got different results. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah, it's crazy how science works like that, right? You try something different, get different results from a decade worth of the same mode. It's getting to a point where I'm like, look, man, if you're not happy with how Zombies is right now, you can always go back and play the old games. But like, oh no, but I want new maps. It's like, not everything is about you. Not not every Zombies iteration is about exactly what you want. Black Ops 4, in my opinion, really, stuck its arm out to be like, look, hey guys, we're gonna bring you this traditional Zombies experience with rounds and Easter eggs and difficult quests, but then we're gonna go a little bit farther and add more perks, add more story-driven cutscenes. We're gonna try 2 stories. People didn't accept that. Right? They wanted casual gameplay, easier quests, this, that, more modes, right? Aside from Rush and Gauntlet. They wanted more of this. Black Ops Cold War delivered exactly on that. People still aren't happy. So now the quests are so much easier. We're getting less traditional maps at this point. I would not be surprised if in the next Treyarch iteration, the closest we get to round-based experiences is like something like Onslaught, where you're able to place surges on some of the sections of an Outbreak map or sections of a multiplayer map. That might be the case. And Zombies going forward could be like Outbreak, but maybe adding in an RPG element to it. If you give it like a Borderlands Destiny grind factor, combine that with this open world Outbreak experience, maybe that's the future of Zombies as we know it. But I think the era of survival maps with an Easter egg, I think that era is coming to an end very soon. And not just because people are quote unquote bored of it. I wouldn't say that's the case, even if the player base was dying a bit recently. I just think Activision themselves might be tired of the same cycle of, all right, a map drops, Easter egg gets solved in a couple of hours, people are cheating, people are complaining, accusations are made, and then the map is quote unquote dead after like 2 days, no more side quests, people are waiting for the next map. They might be tired of that. So I think looking at a new way to innovate on the mode is almost inevitable at this point, which they've already started with Outbreak. But in terms of round-based maps, it's like, oh, there's always going to be a vocal minority complaining about it. Sure, will Activision care what they're saying? If the majority is still supporting the mode with the high player base, they probably won't give a shit. But a good point. Go ahead. No, go ahead first. Then
I was gonna say the similarity or the comparisons you made with, or not the comparisons, but the kind of hopeful comparisons you made with Borderlands and
Destiny.
and Zombies, Borderlands, Zombies, and Destiny. It's actually crazy if you really start to compare it, especially with Borderlands 3 and pretty much every single Borderlands game. You spawn into a little world. You have your objective to do, your story, your side missions, which is a lot like Outbreak. It sounds a lot like Outbreak. You have your main objective, and you have little side quests to do. Now, the thing that is crazy about it is that there's intel around the map, which I'm sure all you guys know.
Right.
There's intel around the map, but in Borderlands, there's these little things you can collect called little echo chamber things. I forget what they're called. I haven't played Borderlands in a while, but it's literally like the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, except you don't keep your loot past exiting the game, which I think that's the next step to making Outbreak incredible, is keeping your loot,
saving progress.
Saving progress. I think that's a really big step. But yeah, definitely a lot of similarities if you start to look at it on a very basic level. From Borderlands and Zombies.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely think you made a great point. I think it was last week or the week before in that episode. You're like, we can't defend a lack of traditional maps if Berlin doesn't drop until late season 4 or season 5. At that point, we're not gonna be able to defend that. Right now, I'm still on the verge of saying we're on a similar schedule to what we had in previous Black Ops iterations, with getting a map at least every 2-3 months ish. We're on a similar schedule, but I think by the time we hit season 3 Reloaded, we're not going to be on that schedule anymore. Then it's going to be the longest gap in between a map's release for Zombies, right? 133 days from Firebase to season 4's beginning, which is I think June 15th, June 16th. That is officially the longest gap in between zombie map releases. So if we get to that point where it's 133 days, then I'm like, all right, something is wrong. The pandemic must have hit Treyarch in a different way we didn't expect. Something isn't right here. Then I'll say that. But right now I'm still like, look, let's be optimistic. Maybe a surprise is coming this season for Berlin. Or maybe something's going to happen where After this Outbreak egg drops this season, Treyarch will then put all of their resources left towards regular maps. Maybe we'll see a map season 4, 5, and 6 back to back to back. I'm just being hopeful. If that happens, then I'm going to say the wait from Firebase to Berlin was worth it with some Outbreak bullshit in between. Then I'll say that. But right now I'm like, let's really wait to see what happens before judging it. But at the same time, we're not promised anything. There is no season pass. But when you look at people saying, "Oh, yeah," I see a lot of negativity about Outbreak. That's why I'm surprised that Outbreak's still doing very, very, very well player base wise, even though the vocal minority doesn't represent the majority of the community. I've seen a lot of people talking crap about, lack of real maps, Outbreaks this and that. It's not fun. Chat box started working on Streamlabs now all of a sudden. That's funny. That was weird. Big pog. But yeah, I've seen a lot of flack about that. But I think what you said about the grind factor and being able to save progress, if they pull that off in the next title, I think that could definitely change zombies in a big way. It can make people actually like Outbreak a lot more. I mean, looking at what Destiny's doing, Destiny is no longer with Activision, so they're getting less updates now than ever before.
Which definitely not the right choice for Call of Duty to do.
Yeah, that's what people are like, oh, why doesn't Treyarch, why doesn't Infinity Ward, why doesn't Hammer disband from Activision? It's like, you really can't do that. I mean, if they did, which I don't think is even possible because Activision literally owns everything that these devs have done, whereas Bungie had a little more creative control over Destiny. That happened, you'll see literally nothing. Like, you'll see maybe an update every couple of months, if that. I mean, you gotta be thankful for what Activision is able to provide for us Call of Duty fans. But it's interesting, dude. But I'm so done with the topic of zombies in general. As we talked about before, I'm so done with having to kind of almost repeat myself about some of the same things over and over. People are still not understanding what's going on with Black Ops Cold War. It's like there's such a lack of transparency with what the game is they actually bought and what's being provided post launch. I think if Outbreak had existed in Black Ops 3, I think people would have looked at it a bit different. Black Ops 3, again, had zombies maps dropping every, 3 months. So, you never know. The future's still bright. They could end up getting on a schedule, like I said, where starting in Season 4, we get a map every season. If they want to bring the map count.
Well, I would, I think that would be the best with the boom, boom, boom with maps. What people forget to remember is that Black Ops Cold War was delayed.
Oh yeah,
it was delayed in an entire month. So that could have definitely halted a lot of zombies content, especially coming off of Black Ops 4, where it didn't hit the best with the community. So they're probably not having too much on deck at the time of release. So.
Right.
And on top of it being delayed. So
yeah, that's why we're in a bit of a pickle with it, because I'm like, look, if Firebase was going to come out in Season 2, but came out in Season 1 Reloaded instead, that means they were ahead of schedule, right? And then that would then mean they got a head start on Berlin, so that should be dropping any day now. But again, something might have went wrong that we just don't know about behind the scenes. So that's why it's
maybe Firebase dropped early because it was leaked that that map was going to be a launch map, right?
It was a launch map at one point, but I'm assuming it was a much smaller experience with less substance when it was a launch map versus DLC 1.
Well, maybe because of the delay, they couldn't just release it for launch, and that's why it released so early in Season 1 Reloaded. So,
Yeah, I think, it's like I said, Chad, we're on the fence right now of defending the decisions they're making for now, because I think there's a lot of potential. But if we start hitting like late Season 4, Season 5, and Berlin's not out, then I'm going to say, all right, something went wrong here. But
at that point, there better be like a Season 2.
Oh, yeah. And then all that, too, on top of that, yeah, it's a great point you brought up. Icing on the cake to this is it's forgivable to drop Berlin so late if a year 2 is happening, where we're going to get more maps, remasters, modes. If we're going to get all that next year 2, I'm like, all right, then just relax. We'll see what happens in the next few months. But if there's no year 2, and we're getting like the least amount of content for traditional round-based maps, then yeah, that's definitely something worth criticizing or breaking down a little bit. So we'll see. But for all zombies fans out there, it's like I tell you guys in videos, I'm like, look, man, just stop relying on nostalgia. Stop looking at what other Black Ops games did. This game was made under extraordinary circumstances with extraordinary people. They pulled off a solid game. They're trying their best. Again, there's no season pass either. So please, please, please be respectful towards Treyarch and what's going on behind the scenes right now. You don't have to like Outbreak. You don't have to even play it. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to even look at it when a trailer releases for it. But just be respectful of what's going on with this game. Let's see what they can pull off. I'm sure plenty of other surprises are up their sleeve. Let's just stop comparing this to what other games did in the past that had no pandemic circumstances, didn't have, these season models with battle passes. Much different time back during Black Ops 3 and 4. So let's look at the future and the future only. Stop looking behind us, which is really irrelevant and pointless at this point. Somebody made a good point saying, "Oh, if you want to get those round-based experiences, get a PC." I'm like, yeah, there's 100 different custom zombies maps you can play that have probably more content than some of the main releases in Call of Duty. So that could be your substitute if that's what you're looking for. You want classic zombies, you want more Black Ops 3, get a PC. That's kind of that's kind of what we're looking at right now. But yeah, I mean, any final thoughts about what I call the zombies cringe? This constant reminder of nostalgia that just isn't helping the community. It's just bringing people down more, saying, "Oh, by this point in Black Ops 3 we had 4 maps, or by Black Ops 4 we had 5 maps." It's like, what is that conversation doing for anybody? What is that accomplishing? You know what I mean?
My final thoughts are dead characters, terrible redcon story. Move on.
Move on. It's like, look, I mean, I don't know what it is, chat. I don't know if it's because I've moved on from the beautiful story that ended in Tag and I've accepted the ending of it. I don't know if it's that or if it's that I'm just tired of hearing the same fucking tweets and YouTube comments every week, or seeing them, I should say, not even hearing them, but seeing them everywhere. Like, I see if I get a t-shirt made of all the same comments I see on anybody's videos that even touches zombies, not even a zombies channel, even like Prestigious Key or even COD channels like myself that just talk about zombies once a week, you'll see the same comments everywhere. Like, "Oh, where's Transit? Where are the round-based maps? We need our old characters back. Where's Eddie?" It's all the same comments, and it gets old after a while. That I'm like, aren't you excited for anything new? Like what about all this new stuff that's coming out and getting announced? Like, I'm so excited for Fire Team Elimination, the Outbreak Easter egg. I'm excited for fucking, the mid-season event in Warzone. People are still talking about like dead characters and ended stories. I'm like, dude, there's so much more happening in Call of Duty right now, and you're still talking about stuff that ended 2 years ago. I don't get it, man. It's like, I get it. You can be a fan. You can rely on nostalgia, mention it once in a while. But when that's all you talk about and think about, how do you have fun? Like, how do you probably don't enjoy anything that COD is offering you. So that's my guess. You know what I mean? There's so much. My bad to cut you off. Like Sean said, where's the soap bundle? It's like, dude, I see comments about soap bundle. Where's the Modern Warfare Battle Pass? I'm like, bro, that season ended like 7 months ago, bro. It's like that game's out of its cycle. They're not doing a year 2 like Black Ops 3 did for Modern Warfare. Only little bits of content for Modern Warfare. Very minor things. A bundle here, a gunfight map there. Very small things compared to what Treyarch has offered for Black Ops 3 year 2. What they're probably going to offer in Black Ops Cold War year 2. But the same comments all the time. It's like, dude, Modern Warfare. It's like, bro, can we look forward, please? Stop looking backwards, man. Like, what is this, man? But go ahead. My bad to cut you off.
This comment I just saw by Chris again. He said, obviously, most of them miss zombies. And I don't think it's not about missing zombies, because we have zombies now. Like, right. We have zombies now in this game. I think it's more about missing being a 12-year-old, having zero responsibilities, and binging playing a game 100% of the time.
110%.
That's what it is. And that's what I was about to say before you finish your point, is that it's just kind of like it's severe signs of like regression within people, where they just revert back to previous times in their life.
I'll be honest, man. Like, look, I'll tell you what, right? Black Ops 3 and 4, I had a hell of a time playing those games. So many great memories, so many late nights, search and destroy, blackout, Easter egg marathons. Dude, I did it all in those games, man. I love those times. But if you ask me, oh, do you want to go back to those times? I'll say maybe for a day, just for the fun of it. Just for a day, I'll go back and, have fun on some old games or some old friends. But to say I want to live those years again and be that age, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I'm happy with where we're at right now in life, where I'm at. I'm happy financially. I'm happy mentally, physically. I'm happy with so many things that are in the now that I wouldn't want to go back permanently to those times then to relive those over and over. There were some great moments, sure, that I could talk about for fun, but not to say I'm hating the now. I want to go back to the then. It's like, dude, and your point is literally perfect. I'm like, look, I'll admit it, right? Life was probably easier when we didn't have bills to pay. We didn't have to worry about car payments. Didn't have to worry about rent. Didn't have to worry about the internet. Didn't have to worry about, cleaning up after yourself. Didn't have to worry about going out to work or go to school or go to a long class at school. You could just sit home. Your mom does stuff for you. You play your game with your friends. You talk crap on the mic. And now times are a bit different. Life gets a little more complicated. You have less time to play, less time for this, unless you're full-time content creation like myself. That's the only way you can really put a lot of time into the game these days. I understand. Walker, or what's his name from Falcon and Winter Soldier. I put that meme in a video and somebody finally got it when he's like, "I understand that." I said I understand that in a video, and I put a picture of him on screen, and somebody's like, "Why did you put a Falcon meme in there?" I'm like, "Bro, it's the line. It's the line." Anyway, it's like, dude, I totally understand where people are coming from with the nostalgia, but it's like, dude, please just, if you start looking ahead and being proud of yourself in the now, you'll be so much happier in life. Trust me. It's like, dude, would I want to go back to the Black Ops 4 in 3 days just for the sake of saying I don't have to pay bills, but then I have 1,000 subscribers. I make videos for 40 views. Like, I'm loving, what we've accomplished up until this point. I want to keep going forward, not backwards, to the past, right? It's just, that's the way I look at things, man. That's kind of the end point to that topic. I'm just like, appreciate the past, build on it, don't repeat your mistakes, but to really hate your life now and to want to go back to 2015, 16, it's like, you're not going to get far with that, man. There's no way to do that anyway, as it is. So there is no time travel.
Damn, thinking back to even BO3 and BO4, like, I don't even think I would want to go back to those days. Not because it was bad. It was just like, in my personal opinion, the game selection's way better now.
There's more to do.
Yeah, there's more to do.
There's really more to do.
And on top of that, I would have had a crappy computer and made crappy thumbnails, and have 0 clients. So maybe that has a part to play in it.
It's like without quote unquote boasting, as somebody would accuse me of right now. I'm gonna say, why would I want to go back to 2015, 16? We didn't have the podcast. I wasn't streaming every week. I wasn't making daily content. I wasn't reaching out to a large audience and connecting with so many great people. I wasn't collaborating, doing sponsors. I didn't have my own car. I didn't have my own apartment. It's like, if I look back, I'm like, why would I want to go back to that? You know what I mean? We can play the games now. We can still play the games all we want. It's like people almost act like you can't play older games anymore. It's like, oh, the servers are offline. Go play them. But I think you're absolutely right with that people literally just miss being young. It's not even about the games themselves. Would I want to go back to a time we have to wait 3 months for one map pack, where there's no weekly updates, barely any patches or weapon tuning? I mean, now we're getting all types of shit every week. Roadmaps, fucking cinematic trailers, celebrity moments. I mean, dude, we're in such a rich time right now for Call of Duty. If this ever comes to an end, what's happening right now for COD, and we go back to the old ways, people are going to be crying for the way we have it now. Trust. We have. It's like we have it too good, and people are so ungrateful for it. That's kind of the lightest way I'll put it, without going off on like a rant or anything. But people are really ungrateful for what is being offered right now for the community we have. It's incredible, dude. To see all that shit.
I mean, obviously the examples we gave are very subjective examples.
Oh yeah, easily
from what we have achieved.
Right.
Because obviously, like, you'd have 1,000 subs. I would have a crappy computer. Those are just subjective examples. But if we're just keeping it with like objective examples by just looking at kind of what was released at the time,
right?
It's
why would you want to have less? Why would you want less? Yeah, exactly. No, it's a great point. No, and again, to also clarify, reiterate that it is subjective to say, oh yeah, we're happy with where we are now. Not everybody is happy where they are in life. We get that. People want to improve things, but I'm like, if you want to improve in life, you want to get better at something, you want to accomplish something,
you have to move on.
You have to, literally, what did Steve say in Avengers Endgame, dude? You got to move on. It's like, I mean, a cheesy example in that movie, right? 5 years after everybody disappeared, instead of crying about your loved one being gone, you got to move on, right? They didn't know if people would come back eventually, so what are you gonna? It's like you either want it or you don't. You got to be ambitious. You got to really go for it. Chase the fucking dream, dude. You're never going to win if you just keep looking backwards, looking at what you didn't do or what you wish could have dropped. It's like, dude, but great topic that I think definitely needed to be addressed. But we'll leave all that there. I think right about the time, an hour and 15 minutes in, 115, perfect time for our favorite segment on the podcast. So let's roll my favorite intro.
Who are these people?
All right, so we got quite a few silly comments to go through. We might skip a few because there's quite a bit that we had saved in our wonderful chat. Shout out to the lad himself, Sean. We play pretty frequently over in colder multiplayer Warzone, but he also does a great job finding some silly comments. Matt, I don't give a crap about BO4 Easter eggs. Put that in a different video. I found this hilarious. That was in my zombies vid like a week ago, where I went over all the new findings, the 9 Easter egg that got solved, the Black Ops 3 Garage cipher. There's timestamps for a reason, bro. Skip all that. And go to the point you want to watch. I mean, people act like they're forced to watch it. No, actually, let me reiterate that. People act like they're Adler, strapped to a fucking chair like this, with literally strapped to their arms. Their eyes are open shut with toothpicks, and people act like that they're focused, that they're forced to focus on like the entire video, watch all the ads in full, don't skip them, watch every topic. I'm like, bro, you have the freedom to literally skip a timestamp and go up a couple minutes to skip a topic you don't want to hear about. And on top of that, not every content creator even does timestamps, and I do.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say that.
And I'll tell you, it's a bit time consuming to do. It takes a good, 20 minutes isn't that long, but it does take a minute to make sure all the timestamps are in order, no mistakes, insert ads in a certain way. It's like, it takes time to get all that shit done, and I put all the effort into that. This one's funny, dude. Oh my God. Dude, your Bombcast guest and the podcast itself just makes me so effing horny for COD Zombies and COD in general. This podcast is going to be the next big thing in the COD Zom community. Same level of Codename Pizzas, Myth-Busting Mondays. So proud of you, especially for overcoming your crippling condition of dumb face. So, first of all, it's not a Zombies podcast. We're not a Zombies channel anyway. Second of all,
is that a supportive comment? Or
that's what I'm trying to figure out, and my brain can't comprehend what it's trying to be. So if anybody in chat wants to kind of jump in and try to figure out what the hell this means. Crippling condition of dumb face. And I'm like, I responded to some, I think, saying, I forgot we can choose how we look and sound at birth, right? We can all choose like character customization when we're born, right? We can just pick how we look. Sorry, we're not the most charming looking people out there, man. If that's what you meant, but appreciate the somewhat supportive comment there that we're
had us in the first half.
Yeah, okay, yeah, perfect meme there. Had us in the first half, not gonna lie, that works. I'm so upset we don't get what we want. More Outbreak. Last Black Ops game, we got Blackout and bad maps. WTF? I'm like, we don't get what we want. I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, what? Huh? Like, wait. Last game we got Blackout and bad maps. I'm like, what? trying to figure out what that means. Who
are these people, man?
Literally, who are these people? PlayStation is not better than Xbox. Sure, it has better software, but Xbox looks cool. Okay. Opinions, subjective. Same person.
What is that one again?
PlayStation is not better than Xbox. Sure, it has better software, but Xbox looks cool. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's literally a rectangle.
You asked for my opinion. PS5 looks like an alien futuristic next gen console, which I wanted it to look like before it got revealed. I want it to be like this alien clusterfuck, weird looking futuristic shit, and it does. I love it. Xbox looks like a mini fridge. You know what I mean? Just my opinion. The Xbox Series X has cool capabilities, has a cool Game Pass, has some cool exclusives coming out. Not for me though, man. All for you. I hate when Activision and Treyarch do this. They always favor PlayStation. It sucks. When are they going to give Xbox exclusives for once? Same person, by the way. For once. I mean, did you not? Maybe he wasn't around at all before Black Ops 3. He must not have been. Because I think from Modern Warfare 2 to Advanced Warfare, it was all Xbox exclusive. Remember Vonderhaar when he's like, the Peacekeeper, Die Rise, turned first on Xbox Live or whatever. I'm like, bro, I remember it being like, fuck, dude, I'm on PS3 and I can't play that shit for a month. So it wasn't until like Ghost and Advanced Warfare where I had both. I had an Xbox One and a PS4, so I played DLC early on the Xbox One and then go to PS4 full time a month later. Jesus Christ. I counted how many words he used. A lot of words. It's kind of what a commentary is, right? For a 20 plus minute video that you probably commented on. So a lot of words, right? You know, it's all right. Oh, this one's funny. Hey, bro, it says Cars 2 in your description instead of the Carve 2. I gotta go look at that. That's pretty funny, man. I think the Carve 2 was a timestamp and it said Cars on accident. I thought that was funny to read, but I gotta go look at my description. Oh, I'm kind of lost. There's nothing new coming for Modern Warfare, only bundles. Since when did we get a dedicated year 2s for Call of Duties aside from Black Ops 3? I mean, that season was over and fucking. I mean, I think did Advanced Warfare might have added a couple of new guns to tease World War II during like a later. I mean, When I say year two, I'm talking actual year two. Black Ops 3 is the only game that did that, where legitimately new maps, weapons, operations, remasters. No other game has done that at all. You know what I mean? Full year two. So I thought that was funny. Dude is so clickbaity lately. Actually, there's clickbait, then there's lying. Stop lying in your title is gonna start losing watchers. I think one of my members replied to him like, losing what watchers and what's clickbait. The guy never responded. I'm like, what? I still fail to find anybody that responds to me. Please send me a title that is misleading or lying and send it to me for one of my videos. You won't find one. There's difference between like making a bold statement or capital words, exaggerating something, but lying and clickbaiting is a whole different can of worms that we just don't do on this channel ever. So I find that really funny that we still get comments like that. Not as often as before, though. I think people have finally realized that there's actually multimillionaires out there that actually lie in their titles, but there's smaller channels like myself that do care about things like that. I have OCD. I would hate to post a video that has nothing to do with the title or the thumbnail. You know what I mean? So I'm very on point with that shit. Well, all I hear is profit, progress in other games, and more profit. We want our zombies maps. That's kind of the point of an investor's call, right?
Well, has he heard what the point of a business is? The point of a business is to make profit. That's literally like one of like the most basic definitions of business.
No, Mr. Go-Kart. The point of a fucking business is to release zombie maps for people for free every month. They want a map every month. It's not about profit.
Week.
Every week. Fuck it. New map every week. New map and mode every week. Oh my god. I mean, how would the community still be right now if, let's say, a map did drop every season, like every reloaded update, we got a new zombies map? Will people still give a shit about Outbreak if like the Outbreak updates drop at the beginning of each season instead? People will still be like, oh, we should get a map at the beginning of each season, not Outbreak. People will still probably complain. So anyway, that was from the live stream. I'm unsubbing because this is an investor's call, not a COD announcement. The title of the stream the other day said possible COD 2021 info announcement, and then / Activision Q1 earnings call 2021. And it was. And it literally was. Charlie Intel literally broke it down for you if you don't believe me. Sledgehammer Games announced their title. Okay. And again, it was a COD announcement. I never said it was a reveal trailer or a gameplay announcement or some other. I literally said COD announcement, and they announced the game for the first time. So
sure.
I find that funny. If the game has SPMM, I don't want it. I mean, you wanted Black Ops 2, you wanted Advanced Warfare, and
wow.
Those games have SPMM. I mean, what the fuck, dude? Jesus Christ. Cold War Zombies died, changed my mind. I could change your mind with the investors call. It said it's at a peak right now.
1.3 billion in Q1.
Yeah. What they earned? What was it? 1.3 billion dollars profit, and what else? Player base was fucking
player base through the roof, battle pass through the roof, just everything's banging.
Yeah. Cruise Missile put my title in chat right now. We did talk about Cold War Year 2 DLC. We talked about our early COD 21 reveal from the Warzone event, which could be this season. That's earlier compared to last year. And new announcements. We talked about new announcements for the podcast, new announcements about COD 21, and we have more to talk about later in the podcast too. So if you're putting my title in this chat to make a point that we're misleading anybody, all the topics are literally in the box to my right. So I don't know what the point of that comment is, but okay. I don't get this at all. Dude says nobody is moving in both lobbies while he's sitting in a window. It's good to know these streamers ain't shit for real when they can't create their own gameplay vids and all they have to do is throw off their dumpster juice gameplay is say not liking B these lobbies right now. #great. What the what is that? I don't even know where to start, bro, with that. What does that mean, dude?
I'm with that comment.
What does that
mean?
I'm lost, man. I don't know if he's trying to criticize my gameplay. I mean, one thing that kind of, I wouldn't say it annoys me, but it gets to me a little bit. On stream, somebody was like, "Oh, why do you drop nukes in your videos, not your streams?" I'm like, "When is this a nuke sweaty stream?" I mean, also on a Sunday or a Tuesday, you're probably gonna find some CDL Sniper Pros, so it's probably not a good nuke day. But
and it's literally completely different because when you turn on a stream, you're there to entertain people, right?
Yeah.
But when you're recording by yourself, you're
not talking.
You're not talking. You're not reading chat. You're not keeping up with anything else. You're not keeping up with you might be in a party with somebody, but you're just trying to play the game. You're going bang.
But and then here's the thing too. Play devil's advocate. What if I did a stream going for nukes where I'm not talking? I'm just like this, looking straight at the TV, not reading chat, not acknowledging anything, just sweaty, backing out of lobbies where I find the right lobby. Fuck this, fuck that. Just. Do you want to watch that? Is that entertaining? Like, is that fun? You know what I mean?
You would describe like most
Gameplay
Don't
streamers.
quite- yeah.
Right, which I do a lot of gameplay oriented streams, don't get me wrong, but I think for Nuke specifically, that takes a different level of lobby searching and sweating and just, which we might do on stream, but a lot of streams in a row now, I've gone on 25s, 27s, and I'm like, whatever, Nuke happens, it happens, doesn't, it doesn't. If I go on a 27, die from a gas mine on stream, or a sniper who can no-scope perfectly across the map, or a fucking, a street sweeper, it's like, is that my skill being reflected, or is that somebody just playing like shit and killed me on a streak? Big deal. Anyway, but funny comments about that. But yeah, obviously off stream it's easier to drop nukes. And I will say, I drop most of my nukes at like 5, 6 a.m. When I take Amber to work in the morning, I'll come back, play a couple of games before I go back to bed. And that's usually when there's less snipers online. Crossplay on or off doesn't even matter. Less snipers are online at 5, 6 a.m. My experience on PS5. But that's when it's best to drop a nuke. I don't reverse boost either. Dude, don't know why people are hyped about Outbreak and Onslaught. Really, they are trash. Come on, be real now. At the end of the day, real round-based normal maps is what the community really wants. Why not just give us it, and zombies will never be like Destiny. I'll have some of what you smoking, DK. Referring to a point I made in that video where I'm like, if zombies ever goes to like a Borderlands Destiny level grind mode with maybe gonna say progress, it can change it for the better. Again, all these subjective comments that claim that their opinion is the ultimate opinion. It's like, dude, everybody has different outlook on what zombies could be, but this video is a waste of time. I'm like, I love when people comment that on like 20+ minute videos. I'm like, I guarantee you didn't watch the entire thing, and you probably read some timestamps, didn't watch them, or watched the first couple minutes, didn't. Again, all of what the title is suggesting is not going to be addressed in the first couple minutes of the video. If the video is 20+ minutes long, there's probably a lot that's spread out over multiple organized topics with different substance. You know what I mean? So I find that hilarious. People say that. I guarantee you didn't watch the video. Oh, this one's good. Liar, no DLC 2 images he's talking about. Effing calling cards, the effing reject. It's kind of funny how I think I said at the beginning of the video that there's a lot of cosmetics, bundles, and calling cards in game that tease future content. I gave examples. I showed some of the new content it's teasing. I connected some of the calling cards to intel in zombies that are talking about Berlin, the Outbreak Easter egg, maps after that. Really informative video. So if he expected leaked screenshots of Berlin that will get me copyright strike, then you're mistaken because we don't do that here. We don't go for unnecessary strikes for nothing, for clout. You know what I mean? Which that's what you'll get if you post a leaked screenshot. Nothing to do with DLC 2. If that's why you click like me, waste your time. Tell all the friends to boycott this channel. Oh my! Look at the picture, bro. That guy's a Chad over there. It's like, bro, I make about one zombies video a week. I post about every day. I post about one zombies video a week, and I want to make sure it's always a juicer with plenty of info you might not have heard of, wrapping up story information that got solved, new Easter eggs, new findings. That's what we do when it comes to zombies only. They need to stop focusing on Onslaught, focus on round-based maps. We talked about that. What are you talking about? Zombies is dead as fuck. I'm like, well, Activision seemed to disagree with that in their billion-dollar earnings call over there. I like how he pretends we're getting enough content for a $70 game. The zombies content has been lacking all year, waiting 132 days for DLC 2. Then people making the excuse it was during a pandemic. If the game is not finished, don't release it. It's actually not that simple. I mean, they can't just delay the biggest franchise in the world because of a pandemic. They still pulled off a solid game. And back to our point, you paid $70 for what you got, man. You didn't pay $70 for a season pass. You paid for D Machina, the multiplayer maps we got, Fire Team, and a campaign. So hate to break it to you, man. You're not promised anything. You know what I mean? God damn these comments, dude. But that just about wraps things up, I think, for all of our comments in this week's segment of our favorite segment, Who Are These People? So hopefully you guys like the intro that we got made for it. Saw the Prestigious Key for coming up with the audio for it. He actually made the audio himself, custom made. And I had my buddy Rob create an intro just around it. I think it came out great. You catch him on chat a little bit if I missed anything. I hate the Air Patrol. Hey, dude, Air Patrol, it pisses me off, dude. It's like, imagine working hard for a streak like a harp and it gets shut down in 3 seconds. I mean, that gets frustrating. So many good comments. Hope you guys like that. Either way, so successful. So year 2, do you think they'll release some apps to pay for? Yeah, that's actually a good question. I mean, I wouldn't really mind that. If in year 2 they said, here's a zombies pass or a multiplayer pass for more maps. I don't know if they'll go back to that at all. They might to some extent, but I don't know if they'll touch on that again. I feel like now the method is just go free or go home. I don't know if they'll go back to that. But if they did go back to that, I wouldn't be complaining. I'd say, hey, it's guaranteed content. I'm down to pay $20, $30 for a map pack of, X amount of maps or whatnot. I'll take it, dude. But, I think that's a good point to ask regarding like Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, right? It's like they drop a remastered Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. How do they make money off that? Because you don't have supply drops anymore. They can't really do a battle pass for those games. So would they ask you to pay for the multiplayer? Or I don't know. I mean, they gotta find a way to make money.
Call of Duty just tweeted some stuff.
Huh?
Yeah, about the Rambo skin.
Oh, another teaser to that? I was gonna bring that up in a bit too. No, wait, let me pull it up. Perfect timing.
Apparently, did they just delete it? Oh no, they didn't. Here, just scroll down on Call of Duty's replies. They replied to Call of Duty Mobile.
Call of Duty Mobile. Let's pull that up, chat. I love seeing announcements on stream. Go over it live. Call of Duty Mobile. I am scrolling down and I do see something. Oh, wait. Call of Duty Mobile tweeted to survive a war. What is this?
So
and then Kata replied, what about a war zone? Okay, so it's a reference to war zone, but there's a bow in there. Does Rambo uses a bow in the movies, right?
What are you talking about?
Call of Duty reply. Yeah, there's a bow emoji.
Yeah, he uses a bow.
But yeah, Rambo uses a bow.
The image itself has
a bandana, right? Is it? Oh no, what is that?
Bandana. Oh yeah, it's
a sword.
Bandana. A very big knife, and it definitely looks like it's that was cool. That cool happened just now.
So we can get a Rambo bundle in both games at once. I think they might drop them all. They might do it in one go. On like they'll announce it, show gameplay of both in the same trailer for Warzone and COD Mobile. I mean, I think the coolest part about this is being able to play as Rambo and zombies, right? It's like seeing Captain Price's zombies now. Imagine the quotes. I mean, what do you guys think in chat? Will they get Sylvester Stallone to do Rambo?
That really bad.
Or are they going to pull up Mortal Kombat where they have Arnold and Terminator? Or I'm sorry, they have Terminator in Mortal Kombat, but he's voiced by somebody else. You know what I mean? So they get the likeliness of Sylvester Stallone for Rambo, but then get someone else to voice him to save money. Activision could afford it, man. Come on. But people also pointed out that Sylvester voiced Rambo in Mortal Kombat anyway, so might as well get him in Warzone. So, like Vajrati was saying before, I think because of a lack of, I think, more content operator-wise in a Season 3 roadmap, they'll probably end up dropping at least 1 to 2 bonus operators in Season 3 Reloaded. Rambo could be one of them. Seemingly, they have image teasing it already, so I'm assuming he's right around the corner. Maybe Hudson or Mason could pop up later on as well.
It's not that it's a lack of operators. It's just that they've been releasing them really quickly.
Yeah. Pretty much all in the one. Who's missing? Anatov?
Yeah.
Just Anatov, the firefighter.
Antonov.
I keep saying, bro, hold me to it, man. I keep saying Anatov. It's Antonov. Dude, mispronouncing names is one thing, but when I mixed up the skins the other day in that video, I mixed up the MP5 for the what was it, the KSP. I mixed up the Stoner for the RPD, a couple of other ones. Some people got triggered about it. I'm like, bro, there's bigger problems in the world right now than mixing up skins. I mean, thank you if you correct me politely, thank you. But people that got triggered over that, calling me stupid or saying I don't know what I'm talking about, it's like, bro, it's just a skin, dude. They look similar. Who cares? You're probably not going to buy it anyway. And the weapons are all just as good as one another. So not a big deal. But
the reason why I think that more operators would be releasing is because one, like Revive said, that like why would they be teasing all this Warzone stuff now?
Yeah, right.
And secondly is because like they've released the operators pretty quick. All they have is Antonov left. Wraith was in the battle pass. Price was free. And what was that one guy's name? How did I forget that guy's name?
Knight.
Knight. How did I forget that?
Yeah.
How did I forget Knight? And Knight was released like a week and a half after Season 3 was dropped. So
yeah, Antonov.
It's definitely...
That's a badass skin, bro. I kind of want it. The firefighter one.
Oh yeah, with the
that's all bad.
Especially with the one art I made with it. I think that really highlights. Oh yeah, I tweeted it.
Let me see. Let me pull up that image. Yeah, such a beautiful work of art there. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, definitely some Firebreak vibes from Black Ops 3 and 4. But yeah, loving that skin. I can't wait to see that. And yeah, it's like there was a topic we went over in, I think, 2 podcasts ago, which is that Season 3 Reloaded has potential to be a massive update. And speaking of that, to kind of tie into it, I have a big juicer video plan to drop tomorrow, talking all about what is going to drop in Season 3 Reloaded according to official information, rumored information, things you might not have heard of yet. So that video is dropping tomorrow. Got a concept art roadmap coming out for that. Looking forward to it. Fajardi will whip up a absolute squeaky clean thumb for that video. So yeah, we have. I usually drop a video talking about Reloaded the next season about a couple of weeks into a new season. So I think right around now is a good time to talk about Reloaded tomorrow. So everything from multiplayer Warzone to zombies, we'll be breaking all of that down in a juicer vid. I also have a bit of a filler zombie story vid planned for Sunday, so I'll plan that out more tonight. But yeah, definitely have another video in mind that I had written down. Lots of stuff is on the way for sure. I was going to stream this Sunday, but it's Mother's Day, so probably not a good time. On the way, we have a Blackout throwback stream. I want to do that before Fireteam Elimination drops. We got Black Ops 4 downloaded on the PS5. That should be fun. Then we also have a Zombies Marathon planned with MJ Crazer and Damon Allen, the voice actors of Stitch and Woods, respectively. So looking forward to that at some point. But on the topic of Fajardi's beautiful art, let's hop into our time lapse of the week.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, let me know when you get it up, and I will.
Something before we start this.
Yeah.
If you can just pause at the start.
Right. Well, actually, it doesn't let me pause it on OBS. By the way, when I click it, it's on.
Oh, okay. Well, I just gotta say something first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a good time to bring it up on the on the Bombcast or podcast, however you want to say it.
Bombcast. Yeah.
Is that this week? If you were listening to the Call of Duty 2021 and like stream that DK did on stream, Mr. Waffles did DM me like while I was there in the call, and yeah, we got to talking a little bit, and I have made a thumbnail for him, so it's.
Can you send it on?
But the video's not released yet, so I can't.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he didn't release the video yet.
Yeah, so I can't show it. But
right.
Yeah,
That's a nasty one too. I like it.
Huge shoutouts to Spider-Man for that, because I'm pretty sure he's like the one. He tagged me in like one of his tweets.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's how he found me. So
okay.
Yeah, extremely blessed for the opportunity. I think I did a pretty good job of making the thumb. But anyway, yeah, we could start. You can count it down.
Real giving commentator in chat. Do you think we'll get Valentina as an operator? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes too. A lot of operators that I definitely think are going to drop. We'll get to that. Again, Spider-Man, everybody in chat, just stuck around for the podcast, streams, videos. All of you guys, sincerely, I mean, to the bottom of my heart, from Fajardi's heart, really do appreciate the mention of our names in tweets of other content creators, recommending us for this, recommending us for that, voting for us in, polls, whatever it may be. I mean, any of that, sincerely, the fact that you think of us, I mean, it blows my mind that people out there in the world think of our names for this or for that. I mean, you relying on us for content or tweets or videos, streams. I mean, it blows my mind that our names are in your thoughts. I mean, it really means the world. So thank you for hooking us up with opportunities and thinking of us for people who need help with something. I mean, it can't even put it in words, man. It really means a lot. But yeah,
I think it's crazy for people to bring up your name because you're kind of like the creator, but I just make thumbnails. So
no, I mean, I'm glad that I've made it very clear who really brings up the spirit of this channel when it comes to marketing, thumbs, ideas with doing stories and the certain tweet styles. I mean, there's a lot of things I wasn't doing, like during the Black Ops 4 Modern Warfare days, and then you were like, hey, why don't we try this? I mean, ideas go a long way, man. I mean, I'm so glad people know who's responsible for a lot of these things. I wouldn't want to take credit for the thumbnails or whatnot. I probably could have at one point if we didn't have this podcast or if you weren't on Twitter like that. People probably would have thought, oh my God, his thumbnails are this. I mean, I'm not the guy for those, man. It's incredible to see what you've done. But all right, 3, 2, and 1.
Okay, we got a time lapse this week. A big juicer with the I call him Junk Dozer. Yeah. For the skin for Bulldozer,
which I couldn't buy, by the way. He's not in my shop at all. I don't know.
I think they took him out. He's not in my shop either.
Bugged.
But anyway, nothing special with this position. I already had most of the stuff set up. A pretty simple background, just 2 logos, and then the junkyard from the diesel map. And nothing really crazy going on here. You'll see I'll be doing some custom light work on the guns to get the reflections looking all nice. Because all the reflections on the character itself is already looking pretty good. Yeah, this one really didn't take that long at all. I think one of my quickest and fastest thumbs, probably around 45 minutes. And I think I got up at 1.2 to do something. But I mean, that comes being said, it's not the craziest idea in the world, so that's why it didn't take too long. but the video performed very well. So yeah, beauty, absolute beauty there. And as we're going into the last 43 seconds of this, it's basically just kind of last minute touch ups, seeing it how everything's going to look like, getting lighting all nice and looking good, and yeah.
Yeah, and I apologize for anybody out there who's listening to this on an audio platform. If you want to see exactly what we're talking about, we do put up a time lapse of a thumbnail Fajr already made for that week. And yeah, you can see a visual of that, of course, through the YouTube version of this podcast, which is always linked in my description. You can find it on the public playlist of my channel. But yeah, I know whenever we show something visual, it's like, oh, people listening to it can't see that. But he did a great job describing it, and he put the Diamattis for a reason. I actually won the gunfight tournament we were in a couple of days ago with the dual wheel Diamattis that it gave us. So that was the reason for putting Diamattis in there. We had Diesel, which is a part of the new gunfight tournament. And yeah, anybody in chat, let me know. Did you guys beat the new gunfight tournament yet? I think the new one was a bit smoother than the last one. I like the map rotation better on this one. It was Diesel, KGB, ICBM, Diesel again. The first tournament was Mansion, Game Show, U-Bahn, and Mansion again. I mean, U-Bahn is a bit rough. Game Show gets a bit rough. So I think overall, Diesel and KGB played very well in this new tournament. ICBM is a bit hit or miss sometimes, but yeah, we a couple of attempts, we managed to get it done. I think you have to beat it one more time, right? You need the orange Hauer skin. You only got yeah. I got both of those, so we'll have to run through that. Is the tournament still live in multiplayer? I don't know. I hope they didn't take it away. But even if they did, we could still always go back to get those rewards later when they. But there's at least 11. I think there's at least 10 more tournaments coming up, as you can see in the barracks menu of Black Ops Cold War. But yeah, Diesel Knights, the video that this thumbnail was for, talked a bit about that. So some insider or some leaker in the community who has shared some real images of Euro Mountain, some other things. So pretty reliable leaker at this point went ahead and claimed that Diesel Knight is coming mid-season. I'm like, that's kind of a bit different to see a Knight variant of a map come out in the same season the original did. So Diesel Knight, of course, is in the campaign anyway. They just turned the lights on for the version we have now. But yeah, great video. Had fun making it. The support on the channel the past week has been absolutely incredible. So much love to everybody out there who's dropped a comment, dropped a like, stuck through watching most of the video, almost in its entirety. I mean, it really means the world to me that we're seeing some great success season 3 right now. So the content is still rolling pretty hot. Got more videos on the way, more written down. And yeah, that was the time lapse for this week.
Yeah, just one last thing. I see Cultist Commander said, I wish I was as good at making thumbnails as Fajardi. I appreciate the message, but I've definitely spent a lot of time getting to the skill where I'm at now, or if you want to say skill. I personally I think I have my moments, but there's still a lot of learning I need to do to get even quote unquote better than I am now. So yeah, I appreciate the comment, but there has been a lot of sacrifice to get to the point of where I am today. So
yeah, I definitely think when it comes to any artist, content creator, musician, anybody, there's always ways to improve. There's always ways to criticize your own work. I mean, definitely give yourself credit for some of the greatest work you've ever done. But it is healthy to look at what you could do better, what you want to do better, what you want to achieve next. But don't ever look down on your own work. That's always what I say to any artist, creator, or whatnot. Always take a look at what could be improved on. But
there's another comment. Hunter said,
yeah,
how did you learn / start making thumbnails? Now, I've been kind of just playing around in Photoshop for probably since 2018. That's probably when I first started doing stuff in Photoshop. I wasn't making anything crazy back then. I was just using PNGs, putting logos and stuff. Nothing crazy. And it wasn't probably until 2019. 2019 is when I started to kind of take it more seriously and try to really become better at it. And then at the end of 2020, I took a risk, invested in a new PC. And when I had zero idea how to make renders at the time. Also, invested a lot into a PC. DK also helped a little bit with that because it was around Christmas time, so I got a little Christmas bonus there. But anyway, it's besides the point. And I invested in myself, took a risk, and it really came. I think it came full circle.
High risk, high reward, man. That's the that's the way to go, man. Definitely made the right call with that one. And yeah, we have more to accomplish still with that. Lots to learn, lots of new tools that will be introduced to at some point, both in the thumbnail side of things and even video side of things. I mean, with Final Cut, I mean, I personally feel the videos I make don't require something crazy like Adobe Premiere or Avid or Vegas. I mean, you can use that all you want, but I feel like for the videos I make specifically, that isn't really necessary. And even to this day, with using Final Cut for years now on Mac, I've still learned and discovered new tools, new ways to do this, do that by making videos every day. I mean, it's all the best. I will say the best way to produce some quality content is all through being self-taught. I feel like when you take a course or when you try to have somebody else teach you something, you'll learn something from that. You'll accomplish something for sure. But when you're self-taught and you put in the time yourself, you'll feel so more rewarded when you figure something out and move to the next step. But
I mean, get ready for this. Is a quote and a half right here. If it's like you can always teach material knowledge, but you can never teach passion.
Hey, I've been saying that about Call of Duty content creation, which is actually a topic that we'll actually get to now. We'll touch on it now. It's a perfect segue. What is true Call of Duty content creation? It's funny you brought that up. And what I mean by that is, look, a lot of channels out there that want to be a Call of Duty content creator. I'll be the first person to say it. It's not easy. Call of Duty content isn't easy, even though the game gets updated very often, even though the game has a lot of content you can cover, even though that's the case, which I feel like puts it above other games that you can make videos about on YouTube. Even though that's that, I will still say that there's an issue with oversaturation of content, people making the same videos. Your videos might fall lower in the algorithm. YouTube itself is hard to understand sometimes, knowing what time is best to post a video, how to title one, do a thumbnail, the marketing for it. A lot of ins and outs, nooks and crannies, a lot of different areas that you have to master before making content as it is. But with Call of Duty, it's like, look, I see people out there that try hard. They really do care. They have passion, but they don't realize that when you make the same video everybody else is making, when it's about, oh, the new gun just dropped, I have the same thumbnail style as the next person that, puts the Fortnite style text and the weapon inspect and the blue pink lighting. It's like when everybody is doing that, you have less chance to be seen with that style of thumbnail or title. Because even the titles I see are similar too. People are making videos about the new guns. It's like if you want to talk about the new guns, you want to cover something, you got to find a way to do it in an original way that isn't oversaturated. I'm not saying I'm the most original Call of Duty content creator out there. And it's like at the end of the day, how hard is it to make original Call of Duty content? What really can you do that's original? You're either making guides, you're talking about news, you're maybe breaking down some weapons, you're streaming some gameplay. There's only so many things you can do in Call of Duty. So with that being said, try your best to stand out in a way, whether it's from your marketing, from your titles, from your thumbnails, from the style of your commentary, how you break down things with news, your timestamps. Find a way to stand out there because, it's not, like I said, it's not easy at all. There's definitely a lot of competition, but when you're still making the same videos as everybody else, you're not really going to accomplish much. People get lucky. Don't get me wrong. People get lucky doing the same old streaming on Twitch and then uploading all their highlights on YouTube as, reruns and doing good views. That may be the style for Nick Merckx or Swag or whatnot, and they're successful. But not every small channel like myself can just do that and make it. Some do. God bless. But you gotta really put in a lot of time and effort to try something different, and it's not easy. But somebody out there asked, "What do you think of Matters?" Please answer. What's up, Even Darker? I've seen you a lot in some videos recently. Appreciate it.
He's calling me Nade Shot.
You can call you Nade Shot. Oh, he has some similarities and looks there. All right.
Look at the comment above. Fragility upper face looks like Nade Shot. Please don't be offended.
No, we don't have character customization when we're born. We can't choose how we look. Matters is a zombie centric channel. So again, he doesn't really cover anything aside from zombies. So yeah, if you're looking for zombies only, it could be your guy. I do a bit of everything. We do variety on this channel. That's he covers what he covers. I don't always agree with some of his titles or work ethics or whatnot, but we all do our own thing. We can't decide for others what we're gonna do.
He follows me on Twitter. I didn't even know that.
That's great. I didn't start any issues, but I did bring up to him recently. I'm like, look, man, there was definitely some things that I did exclusively, whether it was with titles or my marketing styles. And I saw that he was cloning a bit of that, trying to do a little bit similar content, with how he approached things. And people out there reach out to me with that, saying, "Hey, is he copying your stuff? What's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, no beef, no drama, no negativity. We're not trying to do that." But yeah, there definitely were some moments where I saw that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, sometimes if something's working for you, there's gonna be people out there that notice that and want to imitate that to also have their own success. And that's just the nature of the YouTube business and the competition. But yeah, I can't say anything bad about the guy. I don't think he's done anything wrong. But I don't have to agree with the content he makes. That's just me. But also, he does more zombies, I think, than I do. And I would definitely say there isn't much to go off of just zombies right now. So the fact that he pulls off, frequent zombies videos could mean, hey, he's passionate, wants to keep producing, or he just wants to, keep the flow going, keep the momentum going for the channel, right? It's one or the other. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Everybody does their own thing. That's kind of how YouTube goes. But restate a bit of your point again. I want to make sure people heard that, what you just said about real or true Call of Duty content. I want to hear that again. Make sure people caught that. Got to put that on a damn plaque.
Wait, what? What did I say?
What you said before I went to this topic about kind of true Call of Duty. Yeah, right before I got to this topic.
I said you can always teach material and knowledge, but you can't always teach passion.
Right. I want to reiterate that because people are asking about Matters or other YouTube channels. It's like, look, I can inspire a bunch of channels to title their videos a certain way or cover certain topics that I'm covering or bring up things only I'm covering, but the passion, man, that's something you can't copy. You can really tell when a channel is posting out of passion and love. You could tell when they're actually playing the game they're talking about and want to continue playing it. You can tell when they're trying to reach out and do different things. To stand out as a quote unquote original Call of Duty channel, I try to say, okay, how do I do things differently? Besides talking about news and bringing you guys updates and doing guides or being original with that, let's also do something a bit different. Let's do a podcast on Fridays, do some streams every Sunday. Let's reach out to the voice actors, do some events together. Let's set up our own events. Let's do different things that other COD channels who do news aren't doing. That's my approach to it. So, you could definitely tell people who post out of passion and who doesn't, right? People out there who have admitted to just doing content for money. I mean, that's just not a way to go about it, man. I do it full time. Obviously, it's my job, but when you do it just for money, there's so many ways you're going to fail at that. There's so many ways, so many avenues that you just won't succeed in because passion is the most important part of content creation. Appreciate your comment. Real comment said, your content's not recommended a lot, so I guess the YouTube algorithm does pick up your content. I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad YouTube's doing its job. I mean, people out there in the chat at the beginning of this podcast were saying that they were getting notifications for this without being subbed. I'm like, have you watched me before? I don't know why I would have recommended you that, but hey, YouTube's doing its job to...
I think you should talk about the comment that Donald put.
I just saw that. You're calling TGR? I'm like, does TGR cover multiplayer, bundles, Warzone? Does he stream like I do? Does he have a podcast? He doesn't. I do things differently than him. I'm one of my best friends. When it comes to zombies, we talk about similar things. But when you say clone of TGR, what is a clone? If it's about zombies, it's like, yeah, everybody's gonna talk about the same topics because zombies info is scarce as it is. We're all gonna address the same things in videos. That's how it goes. The Daleks, the Milos, the me, the TGR. That's how it goes. But TGR does things a lot differently than I do. She does YouTube Shorts as well, which I don't do. I mean, he does a lot of things differently.
I mean, I don't know what this guy's trying to get at. Be original, copy TGR.
I've never.
If you just listen to the topic we talked about not even 20 minutes ago, was that like true like original content in Call of Duty? There
doesn't exist.
What can you do?
Yeah.
You can do tutorials, news,
guides, streams.
I don't know.
And at that point, it's like being original to me is more of, is that channel passionate? Does he have a certain distinct voice? Does he approach his editing a different way? Which I hope I do. That's what I try to accomplish. But DK is also TGR is also one of my best friends. We work together quite a bit. We collaborate on certain topics. If him and I have we've had videos before where we sat down together in a call, wrote down topics, recorded individual commentaries, and posted the video on the same day because we collaborated on the ideas that were presented in the video. We have videos where we dual com together. And then there's also the other side of things where I cover things he doesn't. Bundles, multiplayer, other Warzone things. I mean, we just have a different approach to how we do things. I mean, but we're still great friends. We've never had him and I never had an instance where we're like, oh, we're copying each other. No, we've approached things on our own turf independently. So I'll leave it at that. But again, me saying I'm not a fan of like, oh, Matter's doing zombies videos or copying my titles or making things up that's besides the point, right? That's not saying that any channel's original in Call of Duty. That's just, you don't have to agree with somebody's channel. That's just how it is. But I find that funny.
I'm gonna time out this guy. Actually, he's just spitting bullshit at this point. So
Same vid 20 minutes later. I mean, didn't TGR take a week or two break? I mean, I posted every day in the past couple of, yeah.
Yeah, we're just moving on.
Yeah, not even worth. See, sometimes chat. Here's an important lesson in life. It's not even worth your time to state something that's not only obvious, but something that we just talked about like 20 minutes ago. It's like, yeah, TGR was on last week. Is exactly, Zai. He was on last week. You put the same video 20 minutes later. It's like, let's entertain this guy for 2 minutes here. Let's pull up TGR's channel real quick, because our content's drastically different the past couple of weeks. Just for the lulz, we'll entertain him, chat, just because we have the time to do it. Cold War Zombies all feature DLC maps 8+. I mean, I posted a video like that about a month ago. I'm not saying he's copying me, but to talk about the same topics is fine. I mean, whatever. Call of Duty Warzone Secret Afghanistan map, never talked about that. Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer, I never made a dedicated video on that. I brought it up as a topic in one of my older videos. Activision suing Warzone, a short. Again, I don't talk about any of that stuff. I don't even make shorts. So, again, him and I are great friends. I find that funny that people are even thinking about stuff like that. But, yeah, anyway, just
I feel hilarious.
And look how easy it was to find an example of what I'm saying. I'm not making shit up here. I literally just pulled up his last 4 videos. Nothing to do with what I'm doing. So anyway, what were you saying?
I said I feel like it's funny because we had an experience that started this week where people don't understand the definition of like actually copy and pasting. So
yeah, no, there's people out there who genuinely copy and paste other people's marketing, titles, thumbnails, trying to be somebody else. There's channels who do that are even bigger than me that try to be me. I have seen that. And that's not me boasting, say, oh, people want to be you. I'm just saying I've seen channels legitimately want to imitate exactly what I'm doing, and they never succeeded at it because there's one thing to gain views off what somebody else was doing by copying them, and then there's one thing to not be passionate, to be just passing off as like a fake channel, and then people notice that after a while. So that's one thing there. But yeah, to kind of wrap up a couple of other topics I had written down was 9 studios working on COD. So as Charlie Intel reiterated, I think it was this morning or was it yesterday, they have now listed all 9 studios on Call of Duty's website. So Toys for Bob, which is a silly studio name I never heard of before, is now working on Call of Duty. I'll pull up the tweet right now. And yeah, it kind of leads into all the other topics I had written down too. Could more studios working on COD mean we get more remasters like Modern Warfare 3, maybe a World at War, Black Ops 1? Could that mean more content output, like more Outbreak regions, Zombies remasters, more multiplayer maps, more weapons? What do you think that means for the franchise, having 9 studios now pumping out content? What do you think about that?
Since we talked about this last week in pretty extensive detail, I'm just gonna kind of summarize. I think it's great. I think it's especially, you can obviously tell that the money is going somewhere now. With the amount of money they've made, it's going to, you can see it, 2,000 more members, new studio, adding more studios.
Just up from here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really great.
Yeah, I think also, in case you guys missed it, I'm like, look, if the game is being built for next gen, COD 2021, then I'm assuming one of these studios here, probably Demonware, it could be Activision Shanghai, Beanox, they'll probably be tasked with making the last gen version of the game for PS4, Xbox One, a separate team just for that, which they did for Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. Yeah, Toys for Bob worked on Skylanders. Yeah, my little brother actually is a big Skylanders fan, so I'm surprised I forgot the studio's name that worked on that. He played a lot of Skylanders back then. So, and I think that they were working on Crash, or was it Crash Bandicoot, or was it?
I think it's Crash and Spyro. I think it's all
Spyro. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, so yeah, big names here, big studios. People were concerned about whether or not these studios will then continue to work on some of those projects now that they're on COD. And I'm like, maybe they're just the smaller portions of these studios working on COD now, where a majority of them can still be working on Crash, Spyro, or whatever else. So I think they're still working on their own things, but they will be a helping hand for Warzone, hopefully some other projects. But the big point here is, if Outbreak goes free to play, like Warzone, Could Outbreak end up being a hub-like zombies experience that every developer can update? Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer. So think of Warzone, where every dev can throw in their own twist, their own spin, their own maps into the Warzone application. Can Outbreak be that one day? So that maybe there's a separate division at all of these 9 studios working on Outbreak, regions, objectives, new things. Then Treyarch can fully focus on maybe what they want to do, which is round-based maps or a different version of round-based maps, like a Destiny-like feature. I mean, being able to save progress. Can Outbreak turn into a Warzone like that? I mean, do you think that that's the goal, or will it always be Treyarch only? How do you feel about Outbreak going free to play one day?
This is a pretty tough topic because we've seen how the other zombies iterations and the directions they've gone. So unless if it was like Treyarch would always be writing the story for it,
True.
and then it
Yeah.
would just kind of be like the other studio just making what Treyarch kind of just like planned,
Right.
and I think that'll be good. But I think when you start adding multiple different studios with multiple different motives, ideas, then I think it's going to get really iffy. Not even on a storyline level, but even on a gameplay level with different mechanics that they want to implement.
Well, think of a gameplay level of Warzone, right? Because Verdansk is its own thing. It really it spawned off as a Modern Warfare battle royale, but now Warzone is so much more than that. It really is its own thing, and every studio's kind of throwing their own 2 cents into the Warzone fountain. You know, putting in their own take, whether it's a new map, whether it's a weapons integration. So let's think of Outbreak as a Warzone-like experience where, let's say it's in the Modern Warfare engine. It's a big zombies open world experience. Could even have missions. Could have campaign level cutscenes. Let's say it's that. Maybe it's not as story driven as we would hope it to be, but it's a big gameplay oriented mode. And then every dev can kind of add their own things to it. And then maybe it's not as story connected to Treyarch Zombies as we would want it to be. Maybe it's just there for gameplay, and then devs update it, going forward. That could be a free to play Zombies iteration that could exist separate from what Treyarch's doing in their Black Ops games. I mean, it's just an idea. But I bring it up because I think Activision, like I said earlier, has acknowledged that, look, Warzone, COD Mobile, this free to play model has changed the way Call of Duty works. So I think if they can translate that over to zombies at some point, could work. With multiplayer, maybe they could figure that out. I think one day I wouldn't be surprised if Warzone, the app itself, is disconnected from Modern Warfare and has its own multiplayer mode in it with limited maps, weapons. Maybe. I know it's pretty much just Modern Warfare, but imagine if there was a free-to-play version of multiplayer in the Warzone app. And then if they figure out zombies after that too, I think that could definitely be something that they're considering in the future. Just having one hub where you can go to play everything for free, and then through that hub you kind of get advertised, hey, you want to buy a full copy of the new Call of Duty with these same weapons? I mean, just an idea. Take Headquarters from World War II. You can bet your ass they're going to bring that back in Vanguard. I'd be shocked if they didn't, considering all the dev studio and manpower they have now. So bring Headquarters back, incorporate that into Warzone somehow. I see a lot happening. It's very rich for the free to play side of Call of Duty, but yeah, lots of good ideas out there. Lots of different ways they can handle Call of Duty going forward. But I brought this up as a topic in a video recently that free to play zombies is definitely something I'm sure they've thought about. The free trials of Outbreak, like you said earlier, were pretty successful. Boosted the player base quite a bit. There was interest in it. Player retention's hot. So yeah, I think they don't want to ditch their paid yearly model, but if they can incorporate more free models that incorporate and encourage some more sales, then I'm sure that's what they're going to do at some point. Battlefield 6 audio. Yeah, I saw the Battlefield 6 audio did leak out. I mean,
What?
the Battlefield 6 trailer audio of some sort. I think Tom Henderson said that it was like a draft of the trailer that leaked. It wasn't the final version of the reveal trailer that came out. And yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, more power to Battlefield. If they could pull off a good game, good for them. But I just don't think it's gonna touch COD that much. I could really care less about the game. I'm probably not gonna buy it. But hey, if it does good things, then that's great for the EA community. Will Treyarch use the IW8 engine for their next game? Yeah, I mean, that's something too that has me a bit scratching my head. I'm like, if Vanguard's gonna use the Modern Warfare engine, doesn't mean the game is gonna look and feel like Modern Warfare. But Treyarch's kind of the odd one out right now using their own engine that's essentially an enhanced Black Ops 3. So, I would say that any studio using the Modern Warfare engine probably is just making it easier for a Warzone integration, weapons wise or operators wise. Using a different engine from that maybe makes the integration a bit more difficult. But who's excited? Show of hands for Fireteam Elimination. Could that drop as a random Thursday update, or will that be a Season 3 Reloaded highlight? What do you think about that? Do you think that's better saved for the midseason event, or
I think it's gonna be mid-season. I just think it is because it's because it's gonna be added with Duga. I couldn't
right?
remember the name.
Duga Fire, yeah, Duga Fire Team. Yeah, that's another thing too. I forgot to bring up. People out there saying Outbreak's just playing zombies on multiplayer Fire Team maps, and I'm like, how does that work though? Because Golova and Duga were in Outbreak first. We know they're probably made for Fireteam Dirty Bomb. I get it, but you got early access to those maps in Outbreak, so kind of defeats that point a little bit. It's like you are getting exclusive experiences that multiplayer didn't have in Zombies first. So I'm looking forward to Duga. Duga, oh my god, that map plays so well in Outbreak. I want to see. I want to see the Dirty Bomb locations on it. And Fireteam Hardpoint also plays fairly well on most of the maps, kind of hit or miss on like Alpine or something, but plays good on Golova, Sanatorium. I'm looking forward to some Duga in there. When is the midseason update? I'm gonna have to guess closer to the end of May. I hope it's not after that. I'm actually going on a bit of a trip from, I think it's June 3rd through the 6th. Let me pull up my calendar. It's a Thursday, June 3rd, yes, to Sunday, June 6th. That week, I'll have plenty of content planned, a pre-recorded podcast premiered here on the channel. And I might be back early enough on that Sunday to stream. I'm just hoping the Reloaded update doesn't drop that week, because then I'll be streaming Reloaded that Wednesday, going on a 6-hour drive the morning after, which I'll be exhausted. And then, we'll see though. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, the trip's going to be fun. I will have plenty of content planned ahead of that, but I'm definitely going to assume Reloaded drops the end of May, because Season 4 does drop June 15th, according to the in-game battle pass, which not that far away. We still have 3.5 more seasons of this game, and I just gotta appreciate what's left of it, because like we talked about before, what's gonna happen when World War II Vanguard's out? Modern Warfare 2 drops a year after that. We have to wait till 2023 for Treyarch's next title. So I'm hopeful. I won't lie. I will say that I'm a bit worried though about content. I'm hoping that things stay fresh with weekly updates and having things to talk about. I hope we're interested in the game itself, so we're playing it constantly and invested in it. But I can't lie, yeah, I'm worried about the future of, Call of Duty content creation. That's why I'm just to the fullest living out these next 3 seasons, enjoying Black Ops Colder the most that I can, because I'm loving this game. So a year 2 would mean the world to me if that happened, just so we have more to enjoy with multiplayer and zombies. Any last comments though? We'll kind of wrap up with any last questions or comments that we have. There also is something called the stage in my Discord, where people could enter this bit of a waiting room and essentially raise their hands, and they could be picked to then ask questions, kind of like a live Q&A session. Wanted to incorporate that in the podcast, but we're gonna have to work out a better way to do that, maybe in the next episode. But we could also answer questions just in the chat here. But yeah, any other things that I might have failed to address, Fajardi? Any topics, any announcements, anything else that we didn't cover yet?
No, I think we covered just about everything I wanted to, and the topic list. So there we go.
Definitely nailed quite a bit tonight. And yeah, in terms of guests and whatnot, we actually had a really juicy guest, Lucas Weiss, absolute Chad, great designer in the Call of Duty community. We had him planned, I think it was last week, and some scheduling conflicts came up, so hopefully we can find a better time to get him on at some point. That'd be great to sit down and talk with him about his years of experience with renders and how he's felt about the community, how he feels about the game. Opinion on Blame Truth. I don't really watch his content, but what I will say is I'm not a huge fan of essentially not playing the game but still criticizing it or complaining about SBMM. And it's like, dude, it's one thing to positively criticize a game's faults, talk about what could be done better, but it's one thing to just bicker on and on again. It's like, yeah, sure, it has an audience, but what is that doing for the community, really? It's just continuing that constant trend of toxicity, complaining. There may be an audience for it, but hey, I just don't think that's the way to go about talking about COD, man. And I'm not a shill for saying that either. I just think there's such a better way to address problems and talk about what could be done better than just complaining. You know what I mean? They're making Cold War a mix of BO1 and 2. Yeah, I kind of get that vibe. I have a vibe of like Black Ops 3 level updates, hype wise, but then getting that nostalgia factor of Black Ops 1 and 2. You know, I'm definitely loving the content. Like Fajardi said, we're getting like iconic weapons added too that really feel memorable, and you know, loving what has been done so far with Black Ops Cold War. But yes, the Outbreak egg should drop hopefully season 3 Reloaded. Yeah, this about wraps things up for episode 8 of Bombcast. Can you believe it's been 2 months, man? Like, holy crap. It's been 2 months of episodes. 8 episodes in.
Definitely been going quick. So
my week's been going by quick. I mean, I said it earlier. This past week felt, I don't know, real long. I guess because of the extra stream we did with the investors call, the videos we made, but long in a good way. That definitely had fun with the content that was made. But yeah, on top of that, I mean, with the podcast, it's like Friday comes around, we do a podcast, and then like 2 seconds later, another one's coming up. So try to get a guest next week. We'll see if we get hooked up with that, and then if not, be us too like usual. But are you going to join the Outbreak Easter egg hunts? Can't wait for your videos on it too. Hey, appreciate that real comment. Yeah, I'll probably stream something with that when it launches, depending on when it does launch. Maybe do one video covering the Easter egg itself. I'll try not to spam zombies videos like I did for Firebase, but yeah, we'll definitely get some coverage out there of whatever happens. But yeah, this about wraps things up for Bombcast this week. As a reminder, in the description, we have a link to Bombcast on all 9 or 10, I think it is, major audio platforms. You can listen to this podcast anytime you'd like. This will be public in the public, can't even speak. This will be available in the public Bombcast playlist on my channel anytime you guys want. You can find that on the main page on my channel. But yeah, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for tuning in, and peace out.